lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
What does LionHeart mean? They line up 33 strong in his name. The drivers will compete on the most grueling road and oval tracks iRacing has to offer. And they all strive for one goal: to become champion. We'll witness which driver can push their car to the limit and find victory lane. You're watching the premier American Open Wheel Series on iRacing. The LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics starts now.
Good evening, sim racing fans from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The Quaker State plays host this evening in the Pocono Mountains of Long Pond, Pennsylvania, to the DirtyBlinds.com 300 for round 6 of the LionHeart IndyCar Series, presented by Overdrive Graphics Season 3 Championship. GSRC's Joe Peak, as always, getting us rocking, and in the Global Sim Racing Channel broadcast booth at the virtual Pocono Raceway tonight, keeping you rolling. Alongside of myself is Sean Ambrose, my name is Evan Pizzoco, along with our director, Amjad Yaman, and our camera set's brought to you via Dougie Beard. Sean, these guys have an off week in just 1 week's time, and I'll tell you what, they're going to earn that here tonight at Pocono. How about 120 laps around the Tricky Triangle, 2.5 miles per lap, 300 miles before the night's said and done, and it as well is our first Triple Crown event on Season 3.
Big Triple Crown event, and you know what that means, Evan? Double points tonight. Yes, sir. Big race on the line tonight. Double points. You're going to get 100% fuel cell to work with here, and man, it's with a trip around this track, just a little over 41 seconds. You're going to see speeds upwards of 220 miles an hour tonight. Look for a fast one here at Pocono. We're going to get in the car with James Krahula and take a couple of laps around this tricky triangle.
Hey guys, this is James Krahula in the virtual GSRC DW12, and I'm going to take you for a lap around the virtual Pocono Raceway. Coming down the longest straightaway, we come down into the very tight turn 1. On your qualifying lap, you're going to want to head down as low as you can, but also keep the wheels straight as possible to not scrub off any speed. Out of turn 1, we will head down the Long Pond straightaway, again another very long straightaway here at this racetrack. Heading down here into the tunnel turn, again, you're going to want to head down as low as you can into the corner. Turn 2 here at Pocono was modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Heading down into turn 3, another tight turn, very low banking down here, but again, you're going to want to head down as low as possible, but keep that wheel straight to not run off any speed because, again, you have the long straightaway. The draft is going to play a major factor here. Look for drivers to get a huge tow coming down here into turn 1, even shifting up into 6th gear. Letting off going into turn 1, look for drivers behind cars to have to let off, possibly running a higher line than they would earlier in the race. The Long Pond straightaway is another great opportunity for passes. Look for drivers to get a good tow off of the driver in front of them. Don't expect to see too much too wide action there in the tunnel turn. Again, turn 3 is going to be especially tricky in traffic. Look for drivers to be running a higher line and definitely having to lift. The exit to turn 3 will be very tricky, so look for a lot of action right here. Then back onto the main straightaway, and there you have your virtual lap at the Pocono Raceway.
And bringing it back in live here at the virtual Pocono Raceway, the 30-minute warm-up session prior to this evening's DirtyBlinds.com 300 getting set to come to a close, and this field of about 33 some odd cars getting hit the qualifying grid. 5 minutes, 2-lap solo car runs to set the field for tonight's round 6 in the championship. Sean, though, a lot of big things to talk about, and you teased it a little bit there before we went on with James Krahula and took a lap around this tricky triangle. Not only is it the first Triple Crown race on the year, and that obviously implements double points, which should be exciting, and not going to be the only time we have a Triple Crown race on the year. Many of those still to come, but there's an added incentive to win outside of getting twice as many as a win 1 week ago meant. Not only that, but the winner tonight has some cool things up for grabs. You go to Victory Lane, how about $10? You're going to get a plaque for the win at the end of the season, a hardcover Indianapolis 500 book, and a sealed set of 1992 IndyCar trading cards, along with a custom paint scheme from Overdrive Graphics. And then everybody on the top 3 are going to get 2 series logo stickers and 2 series logos embroidered patches to do as they wish with. So that's obviously a little bit of added incentive to do here at Pocono. More on the line, but I feel like it's going to be more difficult to get there because Pocono is a very interesting racetrack. You saw there on the lap round here, for the most part, you can kind of go full throttle, which means that the speeds are going to be up, but it means that if you look at some of our race strategy, and note, Sean, it's going to be very interesting navigating traffic this evening.
Oh, you'll want to go full throttle, but I'll tell you what, buddy, as you get into the draft here, the push gets real in these turns, and you're not going to be able to flat-foot it in traffic. There's going to have to be some give and take here tonight. I got to be honest with you. We're going to start this race double file, and the race into turn 1 here at the start is going to be really the race to watch. I mean, are they going to take it easy, or is everybody just going to throw themselves into turn 1 4 wide and go for it right there, maybe even 5 wide? That'll be something to watch here as we get started. Again, the draft is such a real factor. It's actually overwhelming at times. These guys, the closing rate is so quick. It just comes up instantly, and you have to make a split decision. And a lot of times last night in the practice race, it didn't seem to work out too well. So we'll see how these guys manage that. But, another big story that just developed here over the past 24 hours, Justin Laxton and Tony Lurcock have left their teams and have joined forces with Austin Espity over at HMB Motorsports, Evan.
So you'll see a couple of those race cars sporting a little bit of a different paint scheme as well. I'm going to be working with some other drivers into tonight's race. Race winners so far, we're through 5 races, and we have 1 driver with 3 wins, and everybody else has 1 win if you're on the winner tally. Daniel Roper undoubtedly has the most wins accumulated so far through 5 races, but really through just about 3. He's made 3 starts. He's won at Milwaukee, Sonoma, and Richmond. Rick Music, George Anzaldo tied for second on the wins list this season, both with a win. Rick Music at Homestead and George Anzaldo back at Iowa Speedway. If you weren't with us 1 week ago for the CFD Heroes 150, it was Daniel Roper who took home the win in that race, and he took it over top of Alan Bowes, who came home just behind him at the championship standings as well. So Bowes is going to be sitting second in the points, Sean, into tonight's race. 18 points back. Austin Espity, Jake Wright, James Krahula through the top 5 in the points. The big thing I noticed immediately there, and again, is that Daniel Roper, 3 starts, has more points than everybody else inside the top 10 who have all started 10s, or rather already started their 5 races so far.
Yeah, and that Dead Zone Racing team with Daniel Roper and Alan Bowes is really hot. They are a tough combo to deal with out there. They strategize well. I'm sure they've got a great one going into tonight's race. Look for them to be contenders. I got to be honest with you. They are already showing the power in practice. Bowes, or not in practice, but in qualifying, Bowes right now sitting 7th, and Roper sitting 5th. So, as we talked about here just a moment ago, getting away clean here on a start is so important. You want that air up front, man. There's going to be a lot of cars behind, and they're all going to be fighting. You want to get away from this field as quick as possible.
Roper and Bowes, 2 big names. Well, they jump to the top of the power rankings into tonight. Daniel Roper goes from number 2 to take over the top spot. Alan Bowes jumps from 4th to 2nd, and Austin Espity jumps from 6th to 3rd. So it's Roper, Bowes, and Espity, the top 3 right now in the power rankings. Jake Wright falls from the top spot to 4th. James Krahula falls 2 spots to 5th. Roper, Bowes, Espity, Wright, and Krahula, the top 5 drivers right now in the LionHeart power rankings. Qualifying just about set to come to a close here. About 30 seconds left for any drivers that have not put down a lap yet. It looks like 3 drivers, all but 3, putting down a time. Right now we have 30 drivers on the qualifying clock so far that have locked in a time. And a big thing is, a couple of weeks ago, Sean, we just changed over to locking in the top 20. Good news for the guys that were not in that top 20 is nobody going home tonight earlier in the LCQ.
Yeah, everybody gets a start tonight. We only had 13 show up to the LCQ tonight, so that means everybody makes the field. We've got room for 35 tonight, as this is a Triple Crown race. So, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that 35. Looks like we're going to cut right off at about 33 here tonight, Evan. And qualifying, it looks like, is just about over. I think we're, yeah, it's over, buddy. I think we can start calling out that field now.
We'll rack them and stack them for you. We'll let you know where they all start for this evening's DirtyBlinds.com 300 for round 6 of 18 in the Season 3 championship for the LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics. Take a look at the GSRC starting grid. Pole position does go to Jonathan Goke, the number 08 with a 41.790. Is going to put that car to the top spot. Alongside him, though, Mikel de Jong, the 101 car, starts in second.
Yeah, and starting in third, Jason Robarge in a number 79, and starting just outside of him is going to be Tony Lurcock in a number 42.
3 starts, 3 wins, tries to go 4 for 4 tonight. The 60-winner Daniel Roper will start from 5th this evening on the inside of row 3. Alongside him, how about Jake Wright, been the hottest driver in this series and has led the power rankings for the majority of the year up until this week. Will start in 6th.
And we talked about Alan Bowes. He's going to start there on the inside. Number 21 Machine, he'll start in 7th. And then Tommy Ryan, Unacceptable Racing, is going to be on the outside, starting 8th tonight, number 66.
Justin Laxton, now a part of HMB Motorsports, will start in 9th spot after being a top 10 car in the practice session, along with Dan Guerin, 6th in practice. He'll round out your top 10 on the qualifying grid.
And just as new HMB teammate there, Austin Espity, he'll start 11th. Big Joe Hassard will start on the outside. The number 11 Nike Machine is out to get him tonight.
Just behind them, the fastest car in practice, going to put down a 41.833. Joe Branch will start in the unlucky, or in some cases, lucky number 13 starting position. Behind him in 14th, going to be the 4, that's James Krahula.
And Pierre Tagel in the 14, he'll be starting 15th tonight. And just outside of him in 16th will be the number 89 of Jesse Fowler.
But Ryan Lowe, a little bit further back in the pack than an iMachine would have wanted. He'll take 17th on the starting grid. And alongside him, it's going to be the 888 car. And the team nailed it. Michael Gray in 18th.
And starting in 19th is going to be Corey the Tiger Connor. He'll start 19th at a number 2 Machine tonight. And just outside of him in 20th, Tony Showen.
6th place in points for the driver of the number 6 Machine, George Anzaldo. Winner already this year, will start from 21st, and alongside him in 22nd, going to be the 12th car of Jason Galvin.
Hey, give me Robert Bluen in number 48. He's starting 23rd tonight. Just outside of him, our race sponsor, Pete Edwins, Dirty Blinds Machine. He'll start 24th, the number 16.
25th position in this race is going to be the 05 of Ricky Hart, and Mark Nobert will start in 26th. The 27th spot for Vincent Blumenthal, 28th for Ian Adams, Chris Lanini, and 29th and 30th is the 105 of Mark Goodwin.
And we'll take the last 3 here. Terry Matheson, he'll start 31st. He did not take a qualifying time. Jesse Vincent going to start this race at the back in 32nd. His return to the LionHeart Racing Series. Go get him tonight, Jesse. And Alfred Shepard is going to be the number 30. He's going to be the 33 car in the number 13 tonight. That Izod Machine has got a lot of work to do tonight, Evan.
14 degrees down in turn 1, 8 degrees in the tunnel turn, and then 6 degrees in turn number 3, 2.5 miles all the way around this Pocono Raceway. We get set to get this race underway. A couple of onboards we'll be on board with tonight. The DirtyBlinds.com onboard camera is going to be with Pete Edwins. The Unacceptable Racing on board for James Krahula. The No Name Racing on board for Joe Hassert. And the U.S. Air Force on board for Jonathan Goke. Going to have some unique camera angles through this evening. The pace car, though, going to make the sharp left-hand turn, get down, and most likely wants to get out of the way. Down and away, Jonathan Goat, your leader. Green flag flies, and we're underway. The DirtyBlinds.com 300 is green down to corner number 1, and this field going to spread out 3 wide for 3rd all the way through this field.
Man, and they're 3 wide here at the back as well, Evan. Cars spreading out all over the place. Pretty clean trip through the first turn here.
Taking a look at that camera on the inside of the racetrack as we head now down to the tunnel turn challenge for the race lead. Nothing going to come of that, but you can see minimum 2 wide from 5th on back. A good fight right behind the bright pink machine you're taking a look at on the racetrack. Right in the middle of a lot of that excitement. That's Tony Lurcock. Close it in very carefully on a slower car up in front of him. Jason Robar's rather slowing down a little bit on the outside of the racetrack. And now you'll see they'll go all the way down to the bottom. They'll go all the way up to the top. It's a long front straightaway, Sean. They're going to get everything they can out of all 3,740 feet of it. And that's where the draft becomes a major factor. You'll see that all night long.
Hey, we got to get to the number 3 car here, Ian Adams, man. He is on the move. He's already taken down about 6 cars. He's got Tony Schowen right now, going to the inside of Schowen as they head into turn 2 here. Turn 3, I'm sorry. He takes that position away from Schowen. He's got work to do to get to Corey Connor, but man, he is in sight. Ian Adams having quite a run to start this race.
Contact in turn 3. How about 3 wide? Big problems for Daniel Roper. The 61 goes to the inside on the 42 of Tony Lurcock. That car got tight. They almost did, if not barely, making contact. It drops Lurcock back. Obviously, checking up at that one was Dan Roper. And again, contact. Those two drivers hard into each other. Up and over goes Daniel Roper. And flipping down that short chute goes the 42 of Tony Lurcock. Just mentioned, Sean, that these guys had a close call in turn 3. And in turn number 1, again, contact. You talk about the push there. That one didn't look so as much as it was the 61 pushing up as much as we saw it happen in 3. It looks like those guys just ran out of real estate, made contact, and they did that in front of a big pack of race cars coming. It looks like somehow that is going to be limited to a 2 or 3 car incident. Spectacular job by everybody else getting through. You go on board with Roper right now. Gets a little bit tight. There's the contact, and at that point, he's just along for the ride.
Yeah, and Bose just gets by that accident there. I mean, he just missed it. He almost got hit by his teammate there. But, you know, most of the guys behind actually did a pretty good job of avoiding that. Just see a couple of cars that got out of shape there, but looks like just about everybody made it through there. Tony Lurcock goes for a really, really wild tumble there. And, again, everybody does a pretty good job of avoiding that.
And although turns 1 and turns 3 on this racetrack, the most opposite that you can get, still the same characteristics as far as that race car getting tight on you. And when it happens, Sean, as you said, not only the closing rate being a factor, but when it gets tight, it becomes tight very abruptly, and there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. Daniel Roper, talked to him earlier today. He said that he was not all that confident when we spoke to him in Victory Lane 1 week ago at Richmond. Said he really didn't know what to expect there, and he didn't know what he was going to get out of tonight. Today, he did not have a lot of confidence coming into this race, and so far, the start of it evidently not what he was looking for at all. Tony Lurcock is going to be able to limp his machine to pit road and try to get service done on it, but for the most part, that car done. Dan Roper's car on pit road as well. However, he not behind the wheel right now. Looks like they be done very early on.
Man, what a tough break for Roper there. Again, the hot shoe in the series right now, and trouble found him early. Man, I got to talk about this start that Ian Adams had. I don't know exactly what he did. I missed him on the start of the race, but he came all the way from 28th up to 14th, man. And that's where he sits now in the caution flag. He was just flying through the field, Evan.
On that shot of the front straightaway, a couple of guys coming in for the back of the pack, but no implications happening up at the front of the field. So all your race leaders going to be able to stay out here at least the top 15, 20, not taking a look down the pit road. Jonathan Goke is your race leader as the lights go off on top of the pace car, already getting set for a drop of yet again another green flag. Will complete lap 5 when we do so. The U.S. Air Force machine is carrying the U.S. Air Force on board camera tonight. Did not a whole lot to look at least right now with him, which is a good thing because he's leading this race, and you'll see him behind the pace car. Pace car going to get down and away. A lot of tracks have a lot of leeway as far as when that pace car drops to when you go. Pocono, not really the case. The green flag drops from the flag stand here, Sean, a lot sooner than the majority of racetracks, so they're green for quite some time before they even hit the start-finish line on a restart.
Yeah, and, again, we talked about that race into 1. Now we get a single file restart here, and the race into 1 is probably not going to be quite as tricky as it was the fast time, but you're going to have guys already catching a draft going into 1. So, again, that closing rate could cause problems here on the restart. But, hey, Staff Sergeant Goke is at the helm. He's ready to restart this race, and I expect him to get the jump on everybody. Don't quote me here, but Goat could get away from this field fast if he plays his cards right.
Single file, they get up against the wall so nobody can pass them on the outside of the racetrack. Passing on the inside would be a penalty before the start-finish line, so the defensive line up by the outside of the racetrack. The pace car going to get down and out of the way. Jonathan Goak in control of this field, getting set for the restart. Green flag flies back and away we go, and Goat with a good restart. Not a beautiful one, but a decent one nonetheless, and it's going to be Mikael de Jong who's under attack. The fight for second in full force. The 101 car getting swarmed from behind. How about Austin Espetit going to go 3 wide? Jason Robar's the target of that one.
Yeah, nice start up there up front, but yeah, no, Goat didn't quite get away like I thought he might. He was. Here comes the field now. They're catching him quick, man. We talked about that draft and how quickly it works, and they are catching Jonathan Goat right now.
Jake Wright going to take the advantage off of having Jonathan Goak on the inside of the racetrack as he jumps to the inside on Mikael de Jong, drafting off of that 08 in front of the field here. Going to be able to give him the advantage now back in 3. You got a lift on the inside of the racetrack that hurts the 27. Jake Wright not only going to fall off of being side by side with Mikael de Jong, but it's going to allow Austin Espetit as well to slide on through on the outside of the racetrack, and they do get single filed out by the time they get to quarter number 1. So Jake Wright going to have to suffer and fall for 4th for the moment. How about a battle just behind him inside the top 10? Joe Branch, look at this, 3 wide. Ian Adams to the inside of the racetrack. Sean still doing it. He'll go for a top 10 spot. He gets 2 cars at about 1,000 feet.
I'm telling you, man, Ian Adams is on rails tonight, man. Great battle going on back here for 15th place. Tony Shallon leading the charge. Looks like right there on the outside, Michael Gray. He's being overtaken right now, side by side with Jesse Vincent making his return. Michael Gray gets the edge going across the line as they head down into turn 1.
And that fight right in the heart of this race pack, and just in front of them, you see the 21 on the outside. Alan Bowes going to be able to put up a good defensive effort on Joe Branch, and everybody single file down the back straightaway. How about Austin Espetit, though? Second, not good enough. A challenge for second on a racetrack, and he'll get that spot from Mikael de Jong. Sure, he wants to get one more, but the 777, again, very similar to Ian Adams, Sean. Interesting to see this. Ian Adams started this race 28th. He's in 9th right now. And Adams did not put down a time at all in the 30-minute practice. Neither did Austin Espetit. He's got one of the fastest cars on a racetrack. Mikael de Jong to the inside, and the 101 realizes maybe the 777 just too quick for him. He actually backs off, slots back in line, and Espetit clear by a couple of car lengths to now fight for first.
Well, as they head down the back straight down Long Pond here, the back of the field is just now getting through turn 1. So the field really spreading out here, Evan. Nice race going on right now for 20 the spot. Watching Terry Matheson and Chris Lanini battle at it right now. They're kind of switching back and forth. And just behind him, our race sponsor there in the Dirty Blinds machine, Peter Edwins, holding down 22nd place right now, trying to hold off a charge from Robert Bluen right now. We go on board with Edwins right now as he tries to fight off this charge from Bluen. Bluen gets to the inside.
And Blewett on the inside of the racetrack, going to have the preferred lane down into the corner. Pete Edmonds going to have to watch him go. 48 checks up. Does he go to the inside? He will. Not enough of a draft, though, and he'll have to regather himself and go for it again. But again, somebody can make that pass. The car can get tight. They'll check up in front of you. You have to be quick on your toes. Peter Edmonds taking the more of a leniency route there and not forcing the issue, something that Ian Adams is having none of, because as he sees somebody check up, we've seen the 3 car not hesitate to go 3 wide so far tonight. 2 different approaches, both of them going to be successful in one way or another. Interesting right now what's going on up at the front of the field is that they're spreading out a little bit. Jonathan Goak leads this race right now, half a second though over top of Austin Espetit. And then there's groups of 4. You have the drivers third on back, so Mikael de Jong, Jake Wright, Dan Guerin, and Joe Hassert. That's a set of 4 cars. They're all together. Then Justin Laxton, Jason Hobart, Alan Bowes, and Ian Adams, another set of 4 cars. A little bit separate from each other. They're fighting amongst themselves, but single file restart, a big contributing factor to how everything is spreading out right now. Jason Robarge going to be the next driver under attack. The DuPont machine on the inside of the racetrack. It'll lose to Justin Laxton. Laxton on the outside of the racetrack completes that defensive move to hang on to 7th. Alan Bose thinks about going to the inside. Nothing brewing this time, and they go single file down in 1.
Checking in with George Anzaldo real quick. He's running 16th right now. He's got the very fast Jesse Vincent working on him, making a move to the inside. Jesse going down the big straightaway there. He pulls off that move to the inside, tucks back in right in front of George as they head into turn 2.
And headed down to the tunnel turn, the Long Pong back straightaway, a long distance and a good opportunity to make a move if you you don't want to make it. That's 3,000 feet of a back straightaway between 1 and 2. The front straightaway again being 3,700 feet. That's why the draft is such a factor, because you have so much time to build something up and go for it. And that's why you'll see these guys duck the line like right there with Jesse Vincent at the last second. You might think, why don't they make that move sooner? They don't have a chance. That's George Anzaldo on the inside of the racetrack. The LionHeart IndyCar Series Ford can't complete the pass, but they use that pretty much all 3,700 feet jump, then duck out at the last second. Sometimes it's difficult to make a move if you jump out of line sooner because you lose any momentum you have down low.
Man, there's a big race going on up here towards the front of the pack. Joe Branch got everybody in right in front of him here. He's got the best seat in the house. Ian Adams, Jason Robarge, Corey Connor, and Alan Bose right there, all battling right now. 8th position in back. Corey Connor making a move on Alan Bose right now on the inside.
And that's one of 3 fights down in corners 1 and 2. That time through, the 28 car going to be able to stay in front of Ian Adams off of 1. Looks like the crossover going to be an effecto down the Long Pond backstretch to the inside. It goes the 3 of Ian Adams. That's just behind the fight you're taking a look at now with Jason Robarge, who's on the inside and has not had any time to really catch a breath. He's been going backwards after starting in 3rd. Next person to put him a spot down going to be Alan Bose, who moves on through the number 1 Cheez-It entry, picks another spot back up as he tries to return to 7th where he started this race.
Yeah, and Robarge there had a little bit of trouble coming off the turn there. He gets, I think, just a piece of the fence. That car's a little bit slower right now. He's got cars all around him. He just had Ian Adams get past him. He's got Pierre Daigle working on him right now. Pierre making a move to the inside.
And side by side they will go. It's going to down to the tunnel turn. That's one of the turns where you can pretty much go flat out in traffic or not. He will not throw it in there, though. And in defense, going to be the one that prevails for Jason Robarge. But here, Daigle continuing to try to move forward in this race. Takes a higher line in 3, Sean, that allows him to build up momentum. He'll get a big run here because he's chasing down Robarge. Robarge getting a run on the 3. How about 3 wide? They both duck to the inside. Daigle, he's going to have to lift because Robarge making a move on a 3 car.
Jesse Vincent back here making a move on Michael Gray for 15th place.
And contact right there with Jason Robarge in the number 79 machine. That's the DuPont entry down through 1 and 2. He pushed up the racetrack. He hit the 3 shot at about 200 and change. Somehow hanging on to that race car was Ian Adams. And Adams doesn't even need a lap to get his head back on straight. He'll go right back on another move, going from sideways to moving forward. He'll get the spot at a 3. The crossover, though, back in a challenge for Pierre Daigle. And again, these guys not giving up at all. Putting on a show right now. The fight for top 10 spots continues.
And this battle between teammates back here, Michael Gray and Jesse Vincent, man, heating up a little more every lap. They are teammates, but fighting pretty hard and doing it pretty clean right now. But Michael Gray now back to the inside of Vincent. They just keep going back and forth with each other right now. And all the while, just behind him, Jason Galvin's been able to pick up some ground.
The highest running position fight right now on the racetrack that we were taking a look at just about a half a lap or go is for the number 7 spot. Justin Laxton had it the last time by, and he'll be at the back of that fight. He'll be 9th this time by the start finish on. It's going to be Alan Bose in the middle. You see that bright red Cheez-It entry to the inside of the racetrack, trying to make a move on Corey Tiger Connor. The 2 car gets stay up on the outside. 21 gets through, gets clear, jumps up to the outside, gets close to the wall, and right there, Justin Laxton, who sits in the wings, builds up that draft, John. And when you get that draft into the corner, that's what makes the car tight. When you get that draft off the corner, if you can time it right, it gives you a huge advantage like that. And it looks like it is going to be Laxton picking up 2 spots in that. These 3 guys, though, they're stuck together. Don't expect to see them getting spread out anytime soon.
Joe Branch having a pretty good run right now. He's working on Pierre Daigle. They're trying to get up to Ian Adams here and get into the top 10. But again, Ian just really had a hot car early in the run. It seemed to have fallen off just a little bit now. He's probably preserving it. His stars are starting to get light. The tires are starting to wear off. Going to be talking about green flag pit stops here pretty soon, Evan.
And Jonathan Goke has the pleasure, I guess, to be able to do what he would like to, because he's 1.1 seconds in front of Austin Espity on a racetrack right now. The U.S. Air Force 08 car, clean sailing, at least at this description. We mentioned that the entire field, about 5-10 laps off at a drop of a green flag on that restart, Sean, already spread out all the way from turn 3 through the entrance at turn number 1. Well, that still leaves a very large front straightaway as a buffer, and still Jonathan Goke, as he exits one, closest lap traffic is coming off at the final corner, so he has a lot of room to play with. He's nice out in the clear, and although you're rarely going to find lap traffic thick enough at Pocono to really cause some sort of a big hindrance, as long as everybody's getting out of the way and cooperating, he's good for the moment.
Joe Branch just made a move on Adams. He takes 10th place away from Ian Adams right now. Man, that battle is heated up. Joe really driving a really nice line around this track right now. Car still has a lot left in it. He's able to take it in low and keep it off the wall as it comes off these turns, heads down the front straight. Joe Branch is going to move to 10th place. Ian Adams back to 11th. He's got to start worrying about these cars behind him. They're battling too. Battle between Robarge and Daigle is just really raging on right now. And just behind them, Michael Gray was able to make a move on Tony Chowan and get that position away from him.
Robarge has the speed. He was 4th in the practice charts and 3rd in qualifying, but it has been a dismal opening 20 laps for the driver of the number 79. Right now he's down 9 spots from where he started in 12th. And as you mentioned, Pierre Daigle, who has shown that he's going to be aggressive and fight in this one, would be the next driver to try to put up a challenge for that spot. With him in front of him, Joe Branch, Ian Adams, those drivers starting to separate, mainly because Robarge on the attack to the inside on Ian Adams. He'll get clear, and that's what slows down the 3, and as these guys fight, it should give Joe Branch a little bit of a gap to kind of sit in a nice comfortable bubble for a moment and have the opportunity to just log a couple of laps. Joe Branch, fastest car in practice with a 41.561, started in 13th position. We know he has the speed, and when you take a look at those qualifying times, they're nowhere near as quick as the practice time, Sean, because in practice, these guys out there in a pack. Sometimes it's better to be faster in practice than qualifying, because it means you have a good car in traffic. The 28 trying to get up there and challenge. 3 spots to the positive. He's the last driver inside the top 10.
Well, you know, we haven't seen a whole lot out of Joe Branch yet this season. He hasn't had a lot of luck, to be really honest, that we've seen him show up. But he hasn't had any luck at all. That Honda-powered Indiana machine looking really strong tonight. I like the black, honestly, with a little flash of red. Joe got a hot foot tonight and really doing a great job right now. Like you said, he's got that little pocket that he's in right now. And, man, nothing wrong with that when you're riding in the top 10 right now. Take care of the car and make it to the pit stop.
And the pit stop can be coming up very shortly as 23, now 24 laps go into the works here at Pocono Raceway. Had 33 drivers start this race. The only 2 drivers that are out of this are Daniel Roper, who finishes 32nd, Tony Lurcock, who will finish 33rd rather, in all of this. Roper has officially retired from this race. However, the car in last has not. Now contact trouble with Alan Bowes. Big trouble for him down in the tunnel turn. He'll go upside down and over, and other guys flying through here trying to not get involved also. Big carnage as Alan Bowes up against the inside wall. You'll see the replay, and it's contact from Corey Connor. The 2 car got tight. Didn't help that the 21 Sean came down just a little bit. They found each other, and unlike how we saw earlier on in this race with the 3 car of Ian Adams, Alan Bowes not able to keep that car pointed the right direction. Had a good save, but got hit again by the 2, sent both those cars around. Bowes went upside down into the outside retaining wall, and then as well, right behind him, Corey Connor ended up in the fence as well. Both those cars are able to avoid any further contact. It'll be a 2-car incident.
Yeah, you know, that's going to be a close one to call. I watched that a couple of times now, and, you know, both times it really just looked really close into the turn there. I don't know if it was Bowes come down as much as it was just where they were at in the turn at that point. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like I said, that's a close one to call. It's a racing deal, and they got a nice run. This is going to be an opportune yellow for our leaders to come in and get those cars filled up and get 4 fresh Firestones to head back out and get back to some racing, man.
So Gok has caught up too, and he is behind the iRacing.com first Ford Mustang pace car, and he's going to be able to come down pit road this time by, if he so pleases, for service on that race car. And we would anticipate, for the most part, all of, if not the majority of our leaders coming down pit road. Again, we did see a couple of guys come down from the back of the pack on that first caution flag. However, that was just 5 laps into this race, and 20 laps ago, not much of an advantage going to be gained if you stay out in this one, as far as you're going to have to be down for fuel rather quickly. Jonathan Goke going to bring it down the pit lane, so he'll kick off these pit stops. Nobody jumping out at the last second. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, well, this is definitely the right time to come down for a pit stop, Evan. I mean, this is, again, good timing. Even those guys that came in on that last yellow flag, they're going to want to come in. I mean, they need the fuel, they need the tires. Everybody comes in here. This is a great time to do it.
Goke going to be able to come down as the first place car, and he has that number 1 pit stall for getting pole position. No challenge for the race lead. Austin Espetit going to come off second. Mikel de Jong going to come off in third, at the same order that they entered. So no changing of the guard that time under the caution flag. Handful of drivers staying out. Chris Lanini will stay out, go to the top spot. Tommy Ryan stays out from 15th. He'll be second. Jesse Fowler staying out from 18th, and they will go to third. Not sure how long those cars get to actually stay out, though.
Yeah, I don't understand the strategy at this point. Like I said, we're at a point in the race right now where I think, after that run, if you're not fresh, man, you're going to fall back real quick, and you're going to probably be in the way, which maybe that's the plan, to bring out another caution. I don't know, but we had a great run right there. Cars, a lot of nice little battles going on. It'll be interesting to see here on the restart if we can maybe pick back up on some of those battles again as we move further into the race here, Evan.
So we'll see what the strategy is going to be up at the front of the field, but going to take a moment and try to catch up with Daniel Roper, who unfortunately had a premature end to this evening's DirtyBlinds.com 300. Right now looks like it's going to be a 32nd place result for the driver of the 61. Daniel, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, briefly talked to you earlier. You said you weren't looking forward all that much to this race at Pocono, but to be fair, you didn't quite know what you were going to get out of the last race at Richmond. Unfortunately, this one going to come to a premature end after having a top 5 car in qualifying and a top 10 car in practice. What happened from behind the wheel?
Yeah, we're quick again this week in qualifying. Was able to figure it out again before the race. I think I was having a bit of internet issues there in the race, or just iRacing being iRacing. I didn't actually hit Tony or get into him. It was just we had probably 2 feet between our cars, and just a bit of netcode, unfortunately. And after we got into each other, we were just along for the ride. I'm sorry to Tony that he got involved in that, and it killed us, obviously, too. So just a bit disappointing. The last few weeks have been quite good, but come back to Barber in 2 weeks and see what happens.
And we talked to you last week on the fact that in 3 starts leading all the other drivers who had started all 5, that advantage essentially erased tonight. You already have a win at Sonoma, and you mentioned it's going to be Barber Motorsports Park in 2 weeks' time for round 7. You feel like you can get things back on track at a road course that is more of driver versus track versus driver versus a lot of different traffic through here tonight like we see at Pocono.
Oh, I'm definitely going to do a lot of testing to make sure I'm back on top for Barber. It's a difficult track, and I'm going to do the best that I can to get back in victory lane again for Barber, and see how it goes, I guess.
Well, thanks for sticking around, taking the time to talk with us again. Unfortunate finish for you guys. Enjoy your off week. We'll see you in 2 Wednesdays at Barber.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good night, guys.
So that is, again, Daniel Roper, championship leader, into tonight. A 32nd place result may not only hurt him at the points, but as well may hurt that rise to the top of the power rankings, into which he led for the first time all year. into tonight. The lights on the pace car are off. You take a look back at Jonathan Goat, going to be your race leader yet again for the third drop of a green flag tonight. Second time off of a caution flag. Pace car down and away. Green flag flies. We're back underway. Goat with a great restart, and again, he'll leave that car that sits second on the racetrack to the Wolves. Austin Espity under attack. How about the outside lane? Mikel de Jong trying to make something happen in one.
Pierre Daigle trying to make something happen into one. He was all over the track, weaving back and forth, and still finds himself tucked in behind Jesse Vincent. Jesse Vincent got Jason Robarge working in front of him, working on Joe Branch right there. Joe showing a little bit of speed there in turn 2, able to keep that car just in front. Robarge looking, trying not to get in trouble. Jesse on the outside there, real tricky going through the turn here. Watch out, Evan.
A little bit of contact back in the pack involving Justin Laxton. Nothing comes from that. No issues, and we stay green 3 wide now down the front straightaway. Just behind him, Jason Robarge was the car 3 wide. Very easy, as always, to spot that Rainbow Warrior inspired number 79. But they do end up single file down to the corner. Up on the outside for Pierre Daigle, trying to make something happen. He'll squeeze between the right side pod of the 79 and the outside safer barrier and complete the pass down the long pong back straightaway, and he'll slot up into 11th by the time they fall back to quarter number 2. Side by side for the race lead. Here comes Austin Espity to the outside of the racetrack, side by side down through turn 3.
Oh, and they make slight contact.
Big contact.
There. Espity in the wall.
Espity hard into the outside wall. Jonathan Goat got into his left side as they went side by side down through turn 3, the big bend. Espity car obviously wasn't able to make the turn at that point. Smacked the outside wall. Not only did he almost wreck it, but that car has to be heavily damaged as he now falls dramatically through the standings, all the way outside the top 10 already. He needs a caution badly, or he'll end up in big trouble after going for the race lead. Looked like Goat got a little bit tight. They made contact. The 08 goes on, no problem. The 777 car, rather, gets the short end of that straw.
Man, the battle back here between Big Joe Hassert and Justin Laxton is real right now. Justin was giving him a bit of an undercarriage check there on the last lap. He was right under him as we're on board with Big Joe right now. We get in with that Big Joe, the No Name Racing onboard camera right now. Joe Hassert right now showing the way here. He's got, again, Laxton working on him really hard.
He's got a good fight, and the fight that Laxton is trying to hold off to be able to get back to him. Laxton going to be able to keep Jake Wright at bay. That was the fight behind him for 5th and 6th, and now that Laxton's got to run right to the back of that car, to the gearbox, to the inside, and they will go side by side down to quarter number 3. The fight for a top 4 spot on track, and again, the outside going to be the place to be. The inside, you got to check up significantly more. The outside, you can get as brave as you would like to, and it looks like that time advantage does go to Joe Hassert. But the big run down the front straightaway, we've seen Laxton do this a couple of times now. Talking about contact off and restart. Well, I don't know what it was, but the 53 thought we were at Talladega, gave a shot to somebody down to quarter 2, maybe just a love tap, but he'll do the same thing that time to Joe Hassert. Right up to the gearbox, doesn't tuck to the inside. That'll open up the door, though, for Jake Wright to go to the inside through the tunnel turn.
Oh, Jake, so close to Laxton right there. And here, well, the caution's out.
Caution on the racetrack. Trouble will find itself, and will slow things down at lap number 32. Leaders get across the start-finish line under a relative pace speed, and going to try to find the cause of that caution as we slow things down at Pocono for the 3rd time tonight. Pace car going to pick the field up down in corner number 1, and we will get things back underway rather shortly. Fresh off a pit stop, so don't expect pit stops to be much of a factor in this cycle here under the caution flag. But again, caution flag is out on lap number 32, Sean, and I can't quite find the cause of the yellow on my end of things.
Man, and I'm looking all over the place for. I can't. Was it Espity? He was already off the track, wasn't he, Evan?
Austin Espity went to the inside of the racetrack, off of the racing surface, brought that car to a complete stop, and escaped out. And then the caution came out 3 seconds after he was off track. So if it was for him, maybe some sort of a small, technical glitch in the sim, maybe to the pace car and to the automatic caution system. That car appeared to be on track for longer than it was, but he was off of the racing surface, And typically, you know, we'll see guys flip through the grass, Sean, and no yellow because they're not on a racing surface. If a car does come to a stop above that white line, for sure, yellow's going to come out. But if it's not for Austin Espity, we'll mark it up as a debris caution here at lap number 32. And the pace car goes back to leading this field. Want to give Jonathan Goke a challenge for the most laps led so far tonight. Take a look to pit road. Does anybody do anything? Goke is showing like he wants to. Anybody jump out at the last second? No, Goke is in. Top 2 come down the pit road, and everybody else staying out, led by Dan Guerin.
Interesting play there. De Jong and Goat coming in, and everybody else staying out. This is interesting. Not quite sure what their fuel numbers are looking like, but this could this could be a factor in the later stages of this race.
So those drivers going to hop down, and that is going to be an interesting call nonetheless. Again, this time just about 10 laps fresh off of a restart in this race. So top 2 come down. Not only is that going to, you know, play a little bit of a difference in the fuel strategy game, Sean, but a lot of the time, if you have the track position, sometimes track position will take preference over your pit strategy to an extent because Goke has been enjoying the clean air. We've seen how crazy it's gotten for 5th and 10th on back. Now he'll be right there in the middle of the crossfire there, and he'll have a fast race car, so he'll be trying to get back to the field evidently as quickly as he can, and things could get really hairy if he does so.
Oh yeah, they definitely can. You know, they're going to find themselves right now in an unfamiliar spot. Now, certainly we know what type of talent we're talking about when we're talking about Jonathan Goke, but still, he's got a lot of work to do now, and he's put himself in a tough position. You know, not many laps on those cars that just came in and pitted, so I think everybody's still going to be about the same speed. It will be interesting to see how he and Michael DeJean work through that traffic and try and get back to the front. And, hey, listen, Dan Guerin and Big Joe Hassert, yeah, they're up there at the front right now. I got to be honest with you. They're as fast as anybody when they work together, so we could see a pretty exciting restart here, Evan.
Restart going to be coming up in just a moment. These drivers working these pace laps at about 1 minute and 45 seconds a piece, so gives them a lot of time to get things cooled down, settled down. But another problem is, as a race car driver, you really don't want to overthink things. Sometimes under these yellows, you think of too many possible scenarios that might mess with you here, a psyche thing on this upcoming restart. Going to catch up now with the driver that we just saw in an incident a little bit early on in this race. Alan Bowes started in 7th and is going to come home in 30th position. Not evidently the result that he was looking for in that 21 machine. Sean, you've caught up with him outside of the infield care center, and going to have a word with him.
Yeah, Alan, tough break for you there, man. Looked like really close racing going through the turn there, buddy.
Yeah, it was that was a pretty bad misjudgment on my part. I thought I had a lot larger of a run than what I actually had, and I figured that I would have been able to clear him by the time I cut down and we made contact. So, you know, I got to apologize to Corey Connor on that. That was completely my fault. I hope there's no hard feelings. I know this is a big race points-wise. You know, the cheese machine, it was pretty decent tonight. It seemed like we were going to have a good race, and that happened, so... You know, it's a disappointing end to our night, but we should be able to come back from this.
Well, and come back we will in a couple of weeks at Barber Motorsports Park, and I'm sure you guys will get that road program together, right?
Oh yeah, with it being a road course, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. So we'll have to see how Dan and I stack up in that race. Hopefully it'll be a good race.
Well, we sure hope it is. A tough night for the team. I can understand maybe feeling a little dejected going in, coming away from tonight anyway. Dead Zone Racing, we'll be back at Barber Motorsports Park, and we look forward to seeing you guys there, buddy. Tough break, and sorry to have it happen.
And that was Alan Bowes, who had a rough night to this one. Meanwhile, green flag flies, and back and away we go. Dan Guerin this time going to lead the field, and things have really shuffled up. Your previous race winner, Jonathan Goke, how about 14th position? He'll make a move already, trying to get up to 13th. That'll be 2 wide, 2 rows deep down to quarter number 1, and it is going to be Goke on the inside of the racetrack prevailing through the bowl and now down the long pond back straightaway. He'll take at least one spot there. Meanwhile, the challenge by all means not done behind him. A lot going on outside, a lot going up front as well. How about the battle for the race lead? Joe Hassert wants it, the No Name Racing car, to the outside of the racetrack. Sean, can he do it on the outside through the sweeping quarter number 3? Outside's been the place to be. He'll keep it nose. They'll still go side by side down the front.
Joe just able to put the power down, man, coming off the top of those turns. He gets a heck of a run coming off, but looking to the inside. Watch out. He's got company.
Van Garen wasting no time to get the draft, get the crossover, back down to the inside and clear. Now Hassert back to the inside. This time they'll continue to swap out P1 and P2 down to the tunnel turn. Joe Hassert, you would think, could have the advantage in all of this, and he will, enough to get him clear down to quarter number 3. Do we get a challenge behind? Here comes Justin Laxton up the inside. He'll get 2 birds with 1 stone. He'll get Ian Adams and Dan Garen. Now Adams with a crossover, 2 wide again.
Man, that's some racing going on right there as they go across the stripe. But Big Joe Hassert taking advantage of those guys fighting. He's pulling away.
Talk about good morning. These guys have woken up. Close call there in that fight for 2nd to 3. Got real tight, and Laxton had to jerk the race car to the right to be able to get clear up top. He'll bring Dan Garen through with him. Now Garen to the inside. They block and contact for 2nd. Dan Garen to the inside on Justin Laxton. Laxton shut the door when Garen was there. And 3 wide now with Joe Branch. These guys going at it on lap 38 like it's lap 118. And they continue that hard racing. I'll tell you what, though, Dan Garen not appreciating that move from the 53 car.
No, I don't think he is. Jake Wright just almost had a little trouble there coming off the turn 3. He gets the car back under control, and now he's in the fight working on Joe Branch. And then just behind Jake, we can't forget about Pierre Deigel. He's still in this fight, and wow, okay. Here, Jonathan Goke update. Here comes Goke around Deigel as they're 3 wide in front of them with Adams.
And those cars tight in the tunnel, hard into the outside wall. Dan Garen into the inside wall, up and over. A huge crash for the driver of the number 8 machine. Got blocked by Justin Laxton, got stuck in traffic, and that 8 machine could have very well been damaged when the 53 cut him off. And now Dan Garen into the inside wall. His night is done. You'll take a look at the replay, Sean. They went 3 wide on the inside of all of that was Joe Branch. Those cars just ran out of racetrack. And again, I have to feel that 8 had some sort of front wing damage after the contact with the 53. Did not turn, and a huge hit up and over after he hits that inside Armco barrier. His night just like that erased, and they're not done fighting just yet. Inside the top 3, they'll say the whole seat, but you only need the edge of it. These guys absolutely going at it after this last restart, and they have not given up yet.
And I'll give you another Jonathan Goke update. He just got around Ian Adams. Had to work on him a little bit, man, but he's got Joe Branch right now in his crosshairs. Joe Branch sitting in 4th right now. Goke up to 5th already since that restart. Man, he is moving. Ian Adams not giving up, though. He is in that fight. Jake right up there. So's Jason Robarge. And Michael DeJong hanging on to the top 10 right now.
And again, DeYoung started this race in 2nd. He's 10th right now. He'll evidently fall to 11th as it looks like a couple of other cars try to make a move on him. Pierre Deigel going to take P9 back from him. So the 101 actually going to be able to maintain 10th right now. That's a good fight going on. You got guys like Michael Gray, Jason Grauven, Ryan Lowe, and company just behind him, making that about a 5-car scrap. Through all of this, though, Joe Hassert has gone to the front of the field. Jonathan Goke trying to get back there after coming down pit road. The U.S. Air Force 08 machine already up about 12 spots. He's up to 5th spot. Biggest problem, though, Sean, is not the position number, it's the interval. That's 3.4 seconds back from the race leader.
A lot of guys driving hard. I'm seeing a lot of cars really tight off these turns right now. They're having trouble hanging on, Evan, and I think what we're seeing here is just, well, you know, guys, a lot of guys still in this race, still lots to fight for, and I think maybe the tension is high right now. I think, you know, you want to try and work your way up as quickly as possible. We've proven tonight we can go green flag for quite a while. you don't want to let this race get away from you by falling back too far.
Things are tense, and it has bit some of the big drivers tonight. Names like Lurcock, Roper, Bose, Connor, Espity out of this race. Dan Guerin going to be the next driver to join that list, and will come home in 27th position as he brings that car down pit road. But typically when you're right side up, right side down, and you go upside down in a wreck, that car's probably not going to be able to get back to the racetrack. So we do assume, for all intended purposes, Dan Guerin's night is done. Big drivers having big problems, and for some of these guys, I'm sure they're pretty heated under the collar after the reasons why they were taken out of this race. Good news for them is that there's still a long way to go in this race, so they might settle down before this race comes to a close and we avoid some sort of post-race interaction with those other drivers. Joe Hassert 1.7 seconds in front, though, of Jesse Vincent. He's loving it now. Trouble for James Carhula. Hard into the outside wall. He'll ride it all the way down the back straightaway. That car embedded into the outside retaining wall. Just went on board with him as he smacked the fence. Looks like he went to the outside lane on Vincent Bluthenthal. Bluthenthal got tight, slid up the racetrack, and just ran him out of room. Replay going to go up on your screen now, and you saw what's going to happen here. It is James Carhula going down to quarter number one. He has the run, goes to the outside, and you saw earlier in this race Justin Laxton, car on the inside of him, pushed up. He was able to step the car up the hill, but when you do that and the safer barriers there with that amount of room, not enough room. And James Carhula not happy on the radio, as you would expect, with the driver of the number 72, Vincent Bluthenthal. They're having some heated exchanges over the radio, and they may end up like Corey Connor and Alan Bose earlier in this race, and having their chats muted and essentially disabled for having those interactions while the race continuing to go on. You can obviously, expect and sympathize with why James Carhula is upset. The next big name to bite the dust. Meanwhile, everything stays green, though. The fight may be on for third.
Yeah, nice job, battle going on back there. But man, Joe Hassert is starting to open this thing up. He is about a second and a half ahead of Jesse Vincent right now. You want to talk about a classic battle coming up here. Jesse Vincent actually maybe starting to close just a little bit. I'm watching their lap times right now. Jesse and Joe have gone at it quite a bit in the past, and this could get really exciting really quick if Jesse finds his way up to him. He's got clean track in front of him and is real close to catching Big Joe's air.
And Vincent closing down that 0.3 of a second that he makes up. As you said, the closer he gets, the more draft he's going to get, and the quicker that interval will fall. Fight, though, immediately on behind them for second on the outside, Justin Laxton. Third at the start-finish line. Joe Branch went to the inside, got the spot, the crossover almost, and Laxton going to be able to get P3 back just like that. These guys well behind the battle for second up front. They're well behind the battle for fifth on back, so just the two of them duking things out. Problem, though, is if they continue to fight, and Joe Branch really had to get off the gas pedal that time in three, he'll fall back, and that brings Jonathan Goke right into this battle. The 08 car flying up through, he wants fourth.
Terry Matheson trying to make a move on Ryan Lowe right now for 12th place, man. They are neck and neck as they come through the turn right now. And Matheson down low, but up top there, Ryan Lowe able to make it work and get away from Matheson if they break off the turn.
And Matheson just behind them, scored right now in 13th position. Amanci Autosport, number 18, started in 31st, up to 13th right now. Close call in front of them. Ryan Lowe to the bottom of the racetrack, had a run on Mikel de Jong, and that wheel was probably full rotation to the left. They avoid contact, he gets down low, and now de Jong going to challenge back on the outside at a 3 and down the front stretch. The 101 car going to get clear again and retain P11 at the start finish on. All of this going on just about 8 seconds and change off of the race lead.
Yeah, de Jong almost got a piece of the wall there coming off the turn there. He did all he could to hang on to it, but Ryan Lowe was right there and wasn't able to take advantage of it. As we see Lowe right now just slipping back just a little bit, catches a little bit of the draft going to the turn. He's starting to make his way back to de Jong now.
And it's very easy. You can pass somebody into the corner, and then when you come off the corner, you're clear. By the time you go down the back straightaway, they can pass you, and then you can pass them back. That's how strong the draft is. you just have to be a little bit aggressive with it, and you can do wonders with the draft in these cars at this racetrack. I'll tell you what, though, Joe Branch going in the wrong direction. The Club Indiana number 28 car just inside a top 3 spot, falling to maybe 6th on track. Jake Wright making a move down the front straightaway, and now as we head down towards the tunnel turn, the crossover, going to put the number 28 machine back to the inside the place to be in turn 2. He'll get back up in front of Jake Wright, but Wright not going to lay over at all. One of the drivers who started up front plans to stay up there. Different story behind them for Ian Adams, who kind of wants to get up there. However, 7th is about 2 seconds away from that fight for 5th and 6th, so not really a major factor right now. Ian Adams under attack as Jason Robarge goes to the inside down the front.
Yeah, and Robarge has been working on that for a few minutes there. He has really been working hard on Adams, and now he's able to pull it off. But is Adams going to come back with a crossover? Yes, he does. He gets right back under him there. Nice move by Ian Adams. They head down the long straight and into the turn. Adams is probably going to win that race coming off. He does. Robarge left to sit and watch.
And it looked like Robarge thought about a crossover and then thought better of it when he realized there wasn't a whole lot of room there, and he'll get back single file. Joe Hassert, how about this? He's going to put George Anzaldo 1 lap down, so the 6 car becomes the only driver 1 lap off at the lead lap right now in 25th position. Leaves us with 24 cars on the lead lap. Peter Edwins, the last of those drivers right now, started in 24th and runs 24th right now. Big thanks to Pete for being tonight's title sponsor in the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Not the night that he was looking for, evidently, as you look on board with the DirtyBlinds.com onboard camera. Bad news for him, as you see, there's nobody right up in front of him. The next closest car is Alfred E. Shepard. Sean, and when you don't have somebody else's draft, you're slower than the race leader, who, ironically enough, doesn't have any draft at all. But Joe Hassert's car dialed in right now, and that means that he'll be closing in rather quickly on the back of the lead lap, including that 16 car.
Yeah, and it won't be long as Pete's now... Oh, Jonathan Goke, 3 wide, turn 1. And he's fighting right now.
And he's in the middle of all of that. And he went 3 wide. The car on his outside, the 53 of Justin Laxton, went to the inside on George Anzaldo, that lap car. And Goke wanted to take advantage of Laxton's, lack of attention to him, worrying about the lap car. Went to the inside, didn't work. He'll take another stab at it. To the inside, down to quarter number 3. Can he get it done through the Big Bend? No, the outside prevails yet again. Meanwhile, caution flag will fly. Trouble on the racetrack. Taking a look for this one. And it doesn't look like the person's still wrecking, but yellow flag is out.
You know, and I'm still trying to figure out why George Anzaldo's a lap down. He must have had trouble on that last pit stop there, Evan. Might have maybe gotten a penalty or something we didn't see.
How about this? Trouble for Ian Adams. The 7th place car in this race is into the inside wall and is out of this race after trouble through the tunnel turn. You'll take a look at the replay right now. He's on the outside of the racetrack when they head to the corner. Robarge makes the move on the inside. Ian Adams looks like he just didn't arc it enough into the corner, Sean, and once he gave it a little bit more wheel, things turned downhill. He spun through the grass and really no time to slow that race car down. Hits the inside Armco barrier, absolutely destroying the left side suspension on that car. Close call, though. I don't know if we can get it on board with Pierre Diegel, but the 14 should have been in that incident. I don't know how he didn't hit him.
I mean, he had him lined up for a T-bone. I mean, and gets enough of the wheel to turn it right, and Ian, that car sliding so quickly to the left there. I don't know how Pierre did it. I'm sure he might need to change his shorts here during this caution flag.
He'll have an opportunity to do so because they might come down and visit the pit crews. Caution flag this time. We work under the yellow flag condition at lap number 54. Jonathan Goke, the only driver really up inside the top 10 to pit last time, and he has made his way up to 4th right now. He'll join them, though. Joe Hassert going to lead us down, followed by Jesse Vincent, Justin Laxton, Goke, Wright, Branch, Robarge, and everybody throughout the top 10.
Jesse with a real nice into his pit right there. Got it in clean, didn't have any traffic to work with, and he is out and away. Jesse Vincent is away in front of traffic behind him, still trying to make it into their pit stalls. Nice pit stop for Jesse Vincent.
And Vincent's pit stall way down pit road for qualifying in 32nd. I tell you what, though, it's going to be enough to beat your race leader off of pit road. 4 drivers going to be quick enough to do so, though. Vincent comes out in 1st, Goke in 2nd, Jake Wright, Justin Laxton in third and fourth. Joe Hassert leads this race, but he comes down. He'll exit in fifth spot. And I'll tell you what, Sean, very simply, he overshot his pit stall, even at pace speed. You know, sometimes you wonder how somebody can do it. It's all about getting that extra tenth, and you give it a little bit more gas. It looks like the 11 slowing down. Saw that he maybe needed to get a little bit something else. Got off the gas, or rather got off the brake or got back on the gas pedal. Overshot it, had to back up, and that maybe half a second delay cost him 4 spots on track.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna talk about that pit stop that Vincent just had. It was an incredible pit stop, really well done. He got into the box really clean, stopped it on a dime. They got right to the service there, and you know, I think him and his team would probably say hashtag nailed it.
And it looks like after that cycle of pit stops, Jesse Vincent would be towards the front of the field. Good news for George Anzaldo, rather, is that he had just lost his lead lap status, Sean. He'll not come down pit road this time by, which is going to bump him up to the lead lap. He'll be 1 minute and 44 seconds behind your race leader, but he is in between the pace car and your race leader, which means that technically he's not off of the lead lap. So when the lights go on for the pace car, he'll get waved by. Only problem that would present is that he needs a caution relatively quickly, or you know, if he had the pit under green flag pit stops, that would really hurt his time.
Yeah, no doubt he's going to have a lot of work to do. But hey, listen, George is a strong driver, man. A lot of determination in him. Sitting 6th in the points right now. He needs all the points he can get, so he's going to keep fighting right till the end. Trust me.
Meanwhile, the lights do go out on top of the pace car, so we do get set to go back green flag racing. Jesse Vincent, Jonathan Goke, Ricky Harden, Jake Wright, and Justin Laxton are the top 5 in this one as well. Throw into the mix there Tommy Ryan, Jesse Fowler, Big Joe Hassert, Joe Brandt, and Mikael DeYoung through the top 10. So pit strategy that time by, quite interesting, really. Throws a curveball and a wrench into the front of this field right now. Vincent going to be in control after starting in 32nd spot, and we always say that the pole sitter has the most to gain, Sean, and I guess Jonathan Goke did make up the most stops on pit road out of anybody inside the top 10. He goes from 4th to 2nd, but Jesse Vincent had the 2nd to 1st pit stall, so he came in and left. Well, your guys up front had not even hit their stall yet, and it worked out pretty good, I guess, for the one car.
Yeah, and again, you know, he came out. Guys were still trying to make their way onto pit lane as he's coming out, so again, just what an amazing pit stop that time. He goes on to win this race. We may be talking about that one for weeks to come.
4 laps shy of halfway home in Triple Crown Race 1 in the 2015 Season 3 Championship of the LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics. Trouble for Joe Hassert. That car lost. Everybody else on screen having issues with his sim. He is trying to get back in line. Meanwhile, we have a restart coming up, and they will luckily be able to delay the restart before they get back to the start-finish line. Otherwise, that would have been really, really ugly.
Yeah, real strange. Not sure exactly what happened there, but certainly glad one of the admins stepped in there and threw a yellow. I'm not sure Joe was the only one who had a problem right there. A couple of the guys talking right now.
It looks like Joe Hassert lost all of the cars on his sim, and we'll talk media time about netcode and mention that somebody maybe has received a throughput fall to an unacceptable level. Basically, they drop out of the sim. Well, how that starts is everybody else on track disappears. If you see a car blinking, not only is that car disappearing for everybody else, but for them, everybody else is disappearing in those spurts. And Joe Hassert letting everybody know that he had a very quick connection issue within his sim. Everybody else disappeared, and he didn't want to slow down, Sean, in the middle of the racetrack, because if he popped back in, somebody else hit him. So he tried to get out of the way. Everybody came back, but by that time, he wasn't in a position to lose his spots because the sim not going to penalize somebody for not maintaining speed. So the sim telling them to get back in line. If he didn't get back in line, he and other guys would have been black flagged. So thankfully, race control being able to very quickly get that yellow flag delayed, and we'll regroup them back up and get a proper restart this time.
Yeah, and I'm hearing from James Grahula right now that apparently the server did have a brief brownout there, and I don't think Big Joe was the only guy affected by it. I got to be honest with you, that is the most gut-wrenching feeling in the world when you're on track. You've got cars all around you, and then all of a sudden everybody disappears. You have no idea what to do, but just hold on to the wheel and try not to make a move too far one way or the other, because they're going to pop back up at any moment.
We'll give her another go at it this time. 3 laps shy of halfway home in the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Pace car down and away. Green flag flies. We're back underway, and Jesse Vincent going to be in control of the field. He's well off and away. The 1 car leads us down to quarter number 1, but it's no challenge inside the top 5. Fight for P5 counts, I guess, to the inside. Joe Branch on Joe Hassert. That's the only fight right now inside the top 10.
Ooh, Robarge is fighting right now. That was a heck of a move he made to the inside. Fighting with Ryan Lowe. Those two still working. Tony Showen in the picture. He's making a move on Robarge right now. And got to watch out there. That's a lot of close racing going on. Those guys showing a little bit of patience right now. But, man, when they get into those turns, it's really hard to say how it's going to turn out when they get so close to each other like that. There's just not a lot of room to make a move there.
And turn 2 is the fastest corner on the racetrack in that, for the most part, even in traffic, you can keep that thing nailed to the floor. Problem is, though, with it being one of the quickest tracks, it's also the tightest quarter on the racetrack. Jesse Vincent going to be able to maintain the race lead. Again, he led us off at restart. Goat got to the inside on him, challenged, and then Vincent got right back down into quarter number 1. Got the spot back. Goat, though, not giving up. Trying to get back to the race lead where he was before he pitted off sequence with everybody else. And he'll get it back at a quarter number 2. Fight behind, inside, hello, contact for P9. Pierre Deigel, and contact between him and it looks like Ryan Lowe.
Yeah, Ryan Lowe and Deigel battling right now. They're side by side. Deigel trying to keep it off the fence. He does a pretty good job. Ryan Lowe right there on his tail as they just went across the start-finish line. Jason Robarge just behind. Got a great front row ticket there to the battle. But Ryan Lowe in the middle of that sandwich right now, trying to make a move back on Pierre Deigel.
And that was a fight for 9th. You saw a quick battle just in front of these guys. And how about it again? The 2 Joes going at it to the inside on Joe Hassert. Goes Joe Branch. That's through the tunnel turn. And Branch going to have the inside positioning when they go down to quarter number 3. But again, just loses the momentum, knowing that the inside, not the place to be at all. He'll actually lose a spot in all of that as Mikel de Jong going to be able to make the move up on the outside. Meanwhile, battle on again for the top spot. Jonathan Goke has had it for the last 3 laps. Vincent made a move to the inside in 3. Again, the inside, really the only place it doesn't work is turn 3. And unfortunately for the 1 car, slots back in 2nd. Goke with the run that time down the long pond back straightaway. Going to have about a 6-car length gap.
Lots of jockeying for position back here deep in the field. Robert Bluen right now, he just got passed by Mark Goodwin up there, and again, well, I'm sorry, that was Chris Lanini that had just gotten by him. But again, just a lot of battling going on. Nice little battles going throughout the field. They've really spread out here, Evan. We're at the halfway point, just past it now.
Jesse Vincent's on pit road. That car slowed down the front straightaway, and he comes down pit road, having an off-sequence pit stop, or did he get a penalty? It looks like he is slow.
Sure.
No service is getting done to the 1 car. Trying to see if he had met the wall at some point. He came down pit road, car up on the jack, but it continues to sit there. He's out of the car. You know what? Something's happening.
Yeah, you know what? I think I might know what it is with Jesse. Jesse has had some back surgery here in the recent past, and you know what? I honestly think it might have caught up with him. He said he'd come in with the booth if he'd come into the booth if he got to the point where he thought he just couldn't do it anymore. I suspect that's what might have happened with Jesse. Tough break for him.
And if you have an issue like that, this now only halfway through this race, it is a long and physically enduring event at the Pocono Raceway. Speaking about halfway, as we cross the halfway point and complete that part of today's race, let's take a look at our iRacing Midway race break, brought to you by iRacing.com, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. Your race leader right now is Jonathan Goke. He leads this race in front right now of Jake Wright. Justin Laxton is 3rd on the racetrack. In front of him is now Mikel de Jong. So de Jong going to jump up to 3rd. Joe Hassett going to go to 4th. They continue to go side by side, though, right now for 2nd. and it'll drop Laxton back to 5th. Joe Branch is 6th right now. It's the 7th spot for Terry Mathinson. Ryan Lowe is 8th. 9th right now is Pierre Deigel. Jason Robarge is 10th. Sean, what does 11th through 20th look like?
Man, 11th through 20th right now looks pretty competitive. We've got Michael Gray sitting there in 11th place, and then just behind him, Tony Shallon trying to get a run on him there. Tony in 12th right now. Jason Galvin been pretty strong tonight. He's sitting in 13th. Chris Lanini sitting in 14th. About to give that spot up to Mark Goodwin as Mark's making a run on him. Mark's sitting in 15th right now. Vincent Blumenthal right now sitting back in 17th place. And 18th, Ricky Harden. 19th, Jesse Fowler. And 20th place is going to go to Tommy Ryan right now.
Peter Edwins, Alfred Shepard, and George Anzaldo, the last drivers on the lead lap right now through 23rd position. 24th is Jesse Vincent out of this race. Everybody from here on out is out. 25th is Ian Adams, James Kahula, 26th. 27th, Dan Guerin. Austin Espity is 28th. 29th, Corey Connor, and Alan Bowes in 30th.
Yeah, and Evan, right now we're getting to that point in the race right now where we're starting to see it spread out. So these guys are getting comfortable here, and what we're looking at is another green flag run to a green flag pit stop, which will probably, by the time we get there, that could be the last stop. So these guys might be able to do it on one more stop, Evan.
And many a driver who have started up front having issues so far in the first half. What's going to happen in the second half of this race is the question. How about a quick bit of drama for 4th right now? Joe Branch fighting with and is going to stay in front of the 53. Justin Laxton makes the move on Joe Branch, completes the pass. He'll go to 5th. That tie by. This has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. If you want more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, you can go to iRacing.com. Sign up today. Battle for 5th. Battles all over the racetrack. Only battle not really happening for the race lead. Jonathan Gope back to the top spot. We knew that U.S. Air Force Chevrolet powered machine would be quick tonight, Sean. Even dropping back through the pack made the traffic look rather easy, and he's trying to get a stranglehold back on this race.
Yeah, and Mark Goodwin's out of the race now. Not exactly sure what happened there, but Goodwin's out. Trying to go back and see exactly what happened with Goodwin, but all of a sudden, mysteriously, he is gone from the race. Well, it looks like he got loose coming off the turn there, hit the inside Armco barrier, and that did a little bit too much damage to the car there, Evan.
He was 15th. He smacked the wall. It looks like that was out of corner number 1. Right side smacked the outside wall, drove it through the grass, pulled it up against the inside retaining wall, and at that point exited that race car and is now officially out of this race. The team going to bring it behind the wall. At that point, they don't feel there's sufficient enough points to be able to salvage out of this one. You'll have to swallow the pill and take a 23rd place result after running 15th on the racetrack right now. A couple of fights going on here and there throughout the field. Nobody at each other's throats at the moment. Over Chris Lanini and Jason Galvin have been putting on a good show the last couple of laps. That's for 13th.
Yeah, nice battle going on right there. Those two have been fighting for a while, actually. So, nice to see them maybe working together a little bit. They could be a little bit of just a little bit of driver respect right there, and trying to get up closer to the top 10. That's really where you want to be tonight. Again, with these double points at stake, you want a good showing tonight. You want to get yourself in this championship hunt. We're only 6 races into this season, but man, now's a good time to get in it because we're going to take a week off and we're going to a really tough road course. And that may not play into some of these guys' skill set going to the road course. So take advantage of a nice big tri-oval tonight, not tri-oval, but a nice big triangle, and get yourself a good result tonight.
Yeah, I'll avoid my Concord Pocono rant, but Pocono, a triangle 2.5 miles in length, the biggest oval that we will see in this 2015 Season 3 championship with the LionHeart IndyCar Series. You're taking a look right now, the fight for 9th is on, and a name involved in that one, a name that's been in a lot of fights tonight. Jason Robards having a rough go at it. Early on, it was because the 79 was going backwards. He's trying to get going back on the right track, and with that move, he'll be able to get around Pierre Deigel, take over 9th position, and he leaves the 14 to try to play the defensive against the triplet of Michael Gray right now. Those drivers 10th and 11th on a racetrack.
You know, keep your eye on Pierre tonight. He's running a very patient race, and whenever he does that, he tends to find himself in a right spot at the right time at the end of the race. I've seen it happen several times in the past, even much like when he won the official iRacing Indianapolis 500. Again, I keep an eye on Deigel this evening. He's got something up his sleeve here, Evan.
A lot of drivers that started up front, still up front now, although they haven't been there all night long. But a lot of guys up front did not start up there. Goku leads this race, started on pole position. Jake Wright behind him in second, started in 6th. Joe Hassert started from just outside the top 10 in 12th. He's 3rd, just behind him on the drop at initial green flag. And 13th was Joe Branch, who is 6th. How about Terry Matheson? Quiet name, only mentioned him about once or twice tonight. The driver of the number 18 Banshee Autosport machine, that Chevrolet, from 31st to 7th. And the good news for him is, Sean, we haven't mentioned his name, which means he's minding his own business and running a relatively calm race, all things considered, comparing some of these fights we've seen.
Yeah, you know, again, another one of those guys that's really just kind of flying under the radar right now and just biding his time. Is we've now got 73 laps in this race. Evan, we're approaching the home stretch here, buddy, and a guy like Matheson really, again, putting on a good show right now and could be, I don't know, could be a contender before this thing is over.
Just as we close in on 47 laps to go, caution flag will fly. Trouble on the racetrack, and to bring things to a slow yet again. And this time, again, inside of 50 laps to go. And this is actually going to be a caution from race control. As we did mention briefly with Joe Hassert, Sean, a couple of connection issues. And it appears that that is continuing for many a driver. They're going to slow things down from a pace of 220 miles an hour to a pace of about 70. Bring things into a caution and attempt to get things settled down.
Well, you know, it's funny you mention that. I was on Matheson. He disappeared, and I just kept talking through it. And then we get the yellow flag from Tony. Tony throws the yellow flag on the field, so it wasn't just Matheson that had trouble. Apparently, iRacing is just maybe a little unstable tonight. I hate to speak badly about it, but, you know, it happens. This is one of those things that we have to deal with in this medium. And, you know, it's a shame when it happens because, you know, it could have, it really could have ended somebody's race, but it doesn't look like it has. It looks like everybody was able to recover from it pretty well, Evan.
And for the most part, the more cars fall out of this race, the better the connection will get to a certain extent. To save a lecture on ping, if you know what it is, the only driver with a crazy ping right now looks like is Michael Gray. He's at 266. Other than that, things appear to be normal, but not only on the driver's end of things, but a little bit on our end as well. Some connection issues going to bring this DirtyBlinds.com 300 to a temporary slow. We're past halfway, and we're within 50 laps to go from Pocono. We'll take this quick opportunity to step away for just a few moments. We'll be back for the restart. And back live at the virtual Pocono Raceway as we get set for a restart late in this race as we start to close in. We're within 50 laps to go. This one going to come right at 44 laps to go in the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Jonathan Goke finds himself yet again at the helm. The 08 machine can lead us back to the green flag in front of Mikael de Jong, Tommy Ryan, Robert Bloomwood, and Jake Wright inside of the top 5. Pace car going to get down and out of the way. Green flag flies. We're back underway. The 08 car loud on the accelerator. Already starting to bob and weave down the front straightaway. Sean trying to break that draft. Having to fight for a second, though. Jake Wright wants the outside lane. He's got it. They're nose-to-nose for second.
Yeah, but the battle for the lead is non-existent, man. Goke really jumped on it, got away clean, and these guys are fighting really hard behind him right now. 2 by 2 as they head down the long straightaway there, Evan.
And it looks like it is Jake Wright, big winner and all of that. He'll bring Joe Hassert through as well. So the outside, the place to be that time through quarter number 2 as they went, as you said, 2 wide, about 2-3 rows deep. Challenge for that number 2 spot going to come from the hands of the number 11 of Joe Hassert. He thinks about going to the inside on Jake Wright. Not going to do it at least that time. Ducks back in line. And Mikael de Jong going to be able to go back on the offensive. The 101 car thinks about the bottom, jumps back in line. They'll single file out for second on back. Down through quarter number 1, and you mentioned Jonathan Goke got a gap. The gap, though, less than half a second, and because they're not really fighting right now for second, gives Jake Wright a good opportunity to try to draft up to him and make it a fight for the lead. That interval going to be cut in half down through quarter 2.
Checking in on the back of the field here real quick. Tommy Ryan sitting at 19th. He's got the Dirty Blinds.
The battle for the race lead. That's Jake Wright on the inside of the racetrack. Made the draft. Can't get it done, though. Again, the inside of turn 3 not going to be the place for him, rather, to get the job done. He jumps back up in line, though. The draft, the saving grace, gets back up to him, goes to the bottom. They're going to go side by side for the race lead. They're wrecking back in the field just as they go side by side. Caution flag will fly, and backwards in the middle of the racetrack is Terry Matheson. Trouble for the driver that, Sean, we were talking about just before this most recent caution flag. Having a great run, and it looks like contact with Mikael de Jong. That's a close one to call.
Yeah, they were really close together on the track there, and they head into the turn, and it looks like maybe it was just, slight contact right there. Sends Matheson around, and that car hits that outside wall really hard, knocks the front end right off it. That car is done for the night there.
And that slight contact not only takes out Terry Matheson, but it clips Justin Laxton, and Laxton, who is having a good race, goes up and over. There's a couple of flips in the middle of one, and that actually causes the majority of the back of the field to pretty much come to a complete stop to try to be able to get around that one and not be involved. Mark it up as a 2-3 car incident down in corner 1. Very quickly puts us back under the caution flag here, and it looks like Jake Wright will be scored as your race leader. Sean, how about that? He was side by side as we spoke, fighting with Jonathan Goke, and kind of surprised about the way that one was scored, because typically the sim going to resort to what was at the last scoring loop to start finish line. So, a lot of the time you'll see somebody with a half a car length to the inside. They don't get it their way. It looks like, though, Goke got the caution flag at an inopportune time for him. Jake Wright had a nose, apparently, when the yellow came out, and the 27 going to be the control car for our next restart.
And, just catching back up with Wright there. I had lost him on my screen for a minute and got a little scared there. Weird stuff going on tonight here in this race. But the top 3 right now, I'll put old Michel de Jong in that mix too. That's quite a front 4 up there to work with. Ryan Lowe has managed to work his way up to the top 5. Joe Branch still hanging in there, man. With a lot of fast drivers up here, still a lot of racing to go. We've still got 40 laps in front of us, Evan.
So I had to quickly Google the name of a person who studies the universe to make sure I didn't say the wrong name. I'm not an astronomer, but I do believe that a couple of nights ago it was a full moon, so we can't blame it on that in the sim here tonight. Running without the lights here, the non-existent lights at Pocono. A bright sunny day. You take a look at some of the weather. Should mention that 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The track, though, 104, which is making things quite slick. So not quite a full moon, but things have been definitely a little bit of miss here tonight at Pocono. Just added a little bit of an extra element of surprise and unknown to this round number 6 in the championship. Do want to welcome somebody else up to the GSRC broadcast booth at this point. Jesse Vincent joining us after his night comes to a premature close, has to park the number 1 machine, and it's going to be a 24th place result after finishing no worse than 2nd previously here at Pocono. Sean, and you got a quick word with him.
Yeah, I've caught up with Jesse Vincent. Jesse, well, let us know what's going on. How you feeling right now?
Well, not terribly great.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun. I mean, I started in the back for a reason. I started in the back a couple times last night, made my way up into the top 10. 32nd, raced my way all the way up to the lead, but by lap 10, I had warned them that my back wasn't in terribly good shape when it comes to sitting down for long periods of time, and I warned them about it. By lap 10, it was killing me, but I wanted to get up to the front at least once before I got off.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was an impressive job, man. You had quite a run going, and I know you've been dealing with these issues on your back here for quite a while. What's the prognosis right now? When are you going to be back to full speed here racing?
Well, hopefully soon. In the morning, I'm going to be on my way to Georgia for a week for vacation. When I get back, I'm going to be restarting physical therapy. So hopefully that helps enough. It definitely did last time I did it. Hopefully that helps enough to where I can make it however long this race was. Long enough to do a Triple Crown. In hindsight, coming back on a Triple Crown race probably wasn't the best of ideas. But Pocono is just so much fun that I couldn't resist.
Yeah, well, we head to your home state in a couple of weeks. We head on down to Barber. I know you've been there. I know you've been a participant there. I'm sure you've got to be licking your chops at getting that one under your belt next week or in a couple of weeks.
I am definitely not ruling it out. I mean, it hasn't been long since. I think we started going there when IndyCar was still testing there, even before they started having races there. Been to every race ever since. Been to the AMA Superbike races. Been to the historic races. So I know that place like the back of my hand. That I'm definitely not ruling out running at it next week or in a couple weeks.
All right. Well, we certainly hope you make the field. Hey, have you ever done the Porsche experience out there before?
I have not. My dad's birthday is coming up, and I contemplated doing that for him. The problem is that it's quite pricey, so I've got to get my siblings. We got to save up money to do it, but money's a little bit difficult to come by nowadays. It's certainly on my bucket list, though.
Well, we're getting ready to head back to a green flag here, Jesse. Thanks for hanging out with us here for a moment. Maybe we'll bring you back in here in a little while.
Sweet. All right, thanks.
We do have a third chair, Sean, so we'll put that to use, and Jesse going to join us for the rest of this as a driver analyst of sorts. And still working through this race, inside 40 to go, though still a lot undecided. The pace car going to dive down and away. It does so. Green flag flies, and another restart this time at 38 laps to go. Your race leader is Jake Wright. Got it from Jonathan Goke just 3 seconds before the last caution flag. Goke undoubtedly has had one of the strongest, if not the best car tonight. Going to want to put the challenge back on him, and already with a big run at a 1. Wright wants to protect the inside. Goke gonna make a move.
Boy, he sure does. He's moving up to the outside right there. Look who's in tow. Big Joe Hassert right there picking up Goke's draft.
Right now, the driver's inside of the top 5 without a win so far in the Season 3 championship, albeit just 5 races in the books out of 18 we will run. The fight, though, for the outside lane, going to go to Jonathan Goke. The outside, the place to be all night in Turn 3, and it's going to give the driver of the 08 the race lead. How about Joe Hassert to the inside using the draft for the 08 car? He'll pull an advantage to get the second. Just as he does so, though, caution flag going to fly again. Trouble that time down in 1 and 2. And we slow things down again, about a lap and some change off of the restart.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm still trying to catch up, see what happened there. But, yeah, that's a tough way to get restarted there. I was just about to ask Jesse if he thought we'd make it to the checkers without a green flag pit stop. But I guess that's kind of moot at this point.
Hearing that this incident may have come from a driver that was having some sort of a connection issue, and it is trouble for Justin Laxton, the driver of the number 53 machine, into the inside wall. On pit road, though, something may have happened with his sim, Sean. Looks like he got damaged down on the back half of the racetrack. That car really torn up from where it was on the restart, and it looks like he may have just pulled it down because he wasn't able to keep going. You're taking a look at the replay now. He rolls out of pit road. You can see the damage on that car, and he really just coasted all the way through pit road, rides on the inside, and then when he comes to a stop, although he's, I guess technically that makes that race car on the racing surface because he's above the white line, I think that automatically triggered the yellow.
Yeah, man, real weird set of circumstances going on here tonight, man. Seeing some things that I really haven't seen before. Just when you think you've seen it all, then you've seen a little more, and it makes you scratch your head. Like tonight, just not sure that the sim has been very stable, and looks like it's caused some pretty major problems for some of these guys. And boy, what a tough race for that to happen in here when you're running a Triple Crown event with double points at stake. That makes for a tough night. That's hard to stomach.
So, Jesse, I'll turn to you for this one. We've seen a couple of challenges up front through the pack in the heart of it all, and then kind of at the back all by themselves. Turn 1, 2, and 3, they're all different from each other, but it seems like the inside, for the most part, the place to be everywhere but in 3.
It's really difficult. Running at this track kind of baits you to do things that are kind of counterintuitive to what you want to do. The straightaways are so long, it really baits you to want to pass somebody on the inside. But if you go to the inside in turn 1 and you get past them, you've lost your momentum. Now the guy who is on the outside is going to come right back. And either you stay to the outside and the guy gets by you in turn 2, or you go to the inside, he gets to the outside of you in 2. You go into 3, then he's on the high side of you in 3 and gets right back by you. So passing, especially for the lead around here, is very tricky because as big as this place is, you really have to plan it out, because passes will take place 2 or 3 times at a time, and it'll take 2 or 3 laps to finally complete the pass and definitively say you have that position.
And Sean, not the first time tonight we've seen this picture. Jonathan Goat comes down pit road, others come down with him, but others stay out, and that shuffles things up yet again.
Yes, it will shuffle things up again. In fact, that'll put Big Joe Hassert in the lead and Jake Wright just behind him. So Big Joe making his way all the way up to the front now, and that's going to shuffle things again. But we saw Goat come through the field before. I got a feeling he's probably going to be able to do it again. Jesse, do you think you think Goat could make it on fuel right now to lap 120?
It would be a stretch. We haven't done a fuel run yet, a full run, and I'm not entirely sure. I think they're burning about 0.6, 0.65 per lap. And if they've got 18 gallons, I've lost my calculator here, which I was using in the middle of the race, luckily only under caution and making sure I didn't rear end anybody. But I think it would be a stretch. I'm trying to see here. If they were to burn 0.7 a lap, they would only make it about 26 laps. So
yeah, so we still got a ways to go. Yeah.
But that's at 0.7 they're burning, so yeah, they wouldn't be able to make it from here. They'd have to stop at least one more time.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't take. I'll take your word for it, because I'm not the self-proclaimed the math genius. Sean is well aware of that. So we'll take the 2-time series champions' advice on a pit strategy here, and that's going to make things quite interesting into these final 34 laps now. The lights go back off on top of the pace car, and we do get set to get this race back underway. Quicker cautions that I was anticipating tonight, keeping the pace of this race in full swing, Sean. You get late in these races, and sometimes it's hard to get away from having these cautions every handful of laps.
Yeah, I mean it happens, but you never know, man. I mean, this could be the last yellow flag that settles it all. So it's the rate of attrition it's been high, but hey, let's face it. Right now, I think we've still got 20 cars in this race. So Not bad, actually. A lot of guys fighting for position. Jesse Fowler, the only one not on the lead lap. So you've got 19 guys right now that I don't know if they legitimately have a shot, but they certainly got a shot to get a really good points night here.
To the tunnel turn getting set to go back underway here at Pocono for the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Do want to welcome everybody tuning in now after the conclusion of the Champion Motorsports Endurance Series event at Mount Panama, part of our Wednesday night doubleheader here on GSRC. We thank you for joining us and tuning in for our coverage of the LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics. Tonight is round 6 of 18 in the Season 3 title fight from Long Pond, Pennsylvania, and we are really getting down to crunch time. The home stretch in this one, could it be the final restart tonight? Joe Hassert maybe wants to get away and run away with this thing. The 11 car takes over the race lead after the pit stops. Green flag flies, and back underway we go. 11 on the loud pedal, going to try to get a gap. You see, though, Jake right behind him. 27 has not been shot to make moves tonight, and he's not that far off him.
Not that far at all. Not a great start for Big Joe, but I will tell you something. Big Joe knows how to win, okay? And he's in a great spot. Oh, a little bit of trouble at the back of the field here. Robarge going at it with somebody down there. I just saw him get together. Look, Michael DeYoung there. Really close contact between those two. Almost both of them off the track, and they both saved it.
They thought about going 3 wide for the race lead. Joe Hassert enjoying that they didn't. It was a challenge to the outside from Jake Wright, and Joe Branch thought about putting that car up the middle. Elected not to. They stay single file over just 0.3 of a second. Separate the top 3 drivers on track right now down to quarter number 1. Jake Wright in the middle of all of that. Challenge for third behind them. Pierre Deigel to the outside. Not happening. Jumps back in line. He wants to take away the final step of the podium right now from Joe Branch to the inside. He'll go to the tunnel turn. Backs off yet again, though, and remains single file for the top 4.
Okay, so let's get our Jonathan Goke update here. He is working on Blumenthal right now, up to 8th place. Car looks good right now. He's flying, baby. He's got a handle on this thing, and he knows where he wants to be, and that's back to the front. He's got to deal with a little bit of that traffic, though. Blumenthal not wanting to give that position up. We got a battle going on up front, Evan.
Battle come and gone. He wants to get to the front. That's where the fight is. Jake Wright on the inside, going to make the move. And just like Jesse said, you go to the bottom. Goodbye to the momentum down the Long Pond back straightaway and now towards the tunnel turn. The crossover from Joe Hassert to the inside of the racetrack. He'll take over the top spot, and Joe Branch following the 11 car through. They'll go side by side to turn 3 for second spot. The outside, though, advantage goes to Jake Wright. He'll play the defensive and get second off the corner.
Man, Ryan Lowe had Blumenthal in front of him. Blumenthal was blinking, got a little bit of the piece of the rear end, was able to save it. Blumenthal right now racing really close with those guys. He's side by side with Michel DeYoung right now, and again, Blumenthal having some connection issues right now. Dangerous car to be around, if you ask me.
Now that Penske Chevy dropping back at the inside. Robarge, the crossover to the bottom. Going to be able to make the move on him as Blumenthal, one of the drivers, experiencing the brunt of the connection issues so far tonight. Change for the race lead again, and Joe Hassert not going to be able to go back at it. Jake Wright takes over the top spot, and we were expecting the 11 to go to the crossover. That lane now full of Joe Branch. The 28 to the inside on the 11 prevented Joe Hassert from making a move back on the race leader. Now the driver of the 27, Jake Wright, in 3. Over the inside, not the place to be momentum-wise down the front stretch. It'll fall and cause Joe Branch to fall to 3rd and now 4th as Pierre Deigel going to make the pass on the outside through quarter number 1. 28 laps to go the next time by here at Pocono Raceway. And Branch will now fall to 4th. Jake Wright, though, takes over the race lead. And much like we saw earlier in this race when Jonathan Goke was back in traffic, he made up a brunt of that deficit, got a caution, took the lead. He may need another caution to complete that journey, Sean, up to 7th, but he's 2.2 seconds off the top 4, a second away from everybody else.
Tony Schowen back here fighting off a charge from Michael Gray, doing exactly what Jesse had talked about before, tried to get him inside, but Schowen able to keep the power in up top and keep that distance, and Gray falling behind. Guess who's behind Michael Gray? Jonathan Goke on the come, guys.
Fight for second, not slowing down at all. Joe Hassert was getting freight trained by Pierre Deigel. The inside does not play kindly, though, to the 14. Deigel slides high. Joe Hassert gets clear, and Joe Branch also get a bump up one spot on the scoring pylon to take over third. And what that does is it closes in Joe Hassert to Jake Wright up at the front of the field. Jake Wright has led the power rankings in this series for the longest of time until he entered tonight back in fourth, falling 3 spots from the top spot on that list where you sat for the majority of this Season 3 championship after having such a great start. Has been strong, but hasn't been as strong as the likes of Daniel Roper, Alan Bowes, and Austin Espity, all of which those 3 drivers are out of this race and were out by the halfway point. So obviously not a good run for those drivers here through round 6 of the title fight. Joe Hassert closed it in for the race lead, but as he does so, it's allowing Joe Branch to close in for second as well. Joe Branch has been a thorn in Joe Hassert's side for a long time, Sean. They've been next to each other on track for at least 40 laps or so, and Branch is not taking it easy at all. He'll go to the inside and challenge for second.
Well, you know, I talked about Branch earlier and how we haven't seen much of him this season, and when we have, it hasn't been very, very good luck. Rest assured, he's got a chip on his shoulder right now, and with the run he's having right now, he knows this race is his to win if he can just get up there and take it from Jake.
And that number 28 could have to slot back to third again. And this is what Jake Wright wants to see right now, the race leader. The more Joe Hassert, Joe Branch fight, the bigger the gap can get for your race leader. We saw Hassert close it in as soon as Branch and him started to have an exchange for second. The gap quickly went from about 0.3 of a second to 6, Jesse. We've seen times in this race where you have guys and maybe 3 of them in a group, 2 of them in a group. They fight for 5-10 laps, and all of a sudden they spread out. Joe Hassert right now working a 0.6 of a second gap deficit to Jake Wright. How far back can you be from somebody and still be able to get the draft and get back to him?
To get it really efficiently, you're probably going to be about 0.5 back. You can do it from 0.6, maybe in the front straightaway, but even then, you're probably not going to be able to pass. But what I'm seeing here between the Battle of the Joes is you've got Joe Branch is probably sitting there thinking, I can get by Joe and I can catch Jake, because Pocono kind of tricks you into thinking you're faster than you are, because you get on the straightaway, you get that draft, you're so much faster than somebody going into the corner, and you think you can get past him, and you do get past him, but then once again you lose all your momentum, and then these guys just sit there going back and forth, and then the leader just slowly creeps away.
And with that, that continues to be the game of chess that we see tonight. How about an update on the lead lap right now? 19 drivers on the lead lap, and it is a slow George Anzaldo on the outside of the racetrack, Sean, for the second time tonight. It'll fall off at the lead lap and become the first car 1 lap to the negative in 19th position. That leaves Alfred E. Shepard as the last car on the lead lap. Where very quickly, though, things up front have spread out and they have calmed down. There's a second between the top 2. Joe Hassert is half a second in front of Joe Branch, and Joe Branch is a second entirely in front of the car in 4th, Pierre Deigel.
Yeah, George Anzaldo having to fight some pretty bad damage on that right side pod right there. That's definitely got that car off pace. Doing a pretty good job of staying out of the way, keeping it up there high in the track, letting everybody get by. I talked about it earlier. It's really important for George to finish this race. He can keep himself in the top 10 in points with just a decent result here tonight. I think he'll be okay as long as that car finishes across the start-finish line here at the end.
And that gap continues to grow, now 1.1 seconds to the front. How about a battle for P5? Jonathan Goat continuing the march to the front. The U.S. Air Force Chevrolet now 5th on the racetrack. And I'll tell you what, he'll get to Pierre Deigel. That may be as far as he can get, though, because Deigel a second and change back from the top 3 drivers on the podium right now. But Goat continues to move forward. Was just in 7th, now is 5th, and he wants more.
Hey, I'm going to be, I'm going to say it. Staff Sergeant Goak is in command, baby. He's really got this track figured out, looking really hot right now. He worked on Shawn. We're on board with the Air Force onboard camera right now. Goak worked on Shawn for about 3 laps, was able to get around him. He's working on Pierre Deigel now, and we're on board with him now. We're going to get to see how he pulls this move off on Deigel. It's coming up here, guys.
And you're on board with him, and you saw just how close he got to the outside wall in one. He's got to check up, and that's actually going to allow Tony Showens, number 33 machine, back around the inside to take P5 back from the 08, at least for the moment. Gok again has done this before in this race. Pitt from the top spot, get back to the lead. Does he have enough time to do it, though, for a second time? Outside of the boring that was Iowa Speedway, we really haven't had anybody that was the quickest car not win the race. That could be tonight's case. Now, trouble not only for Michael Gray, Jason Robarge as well. The 79 car turned around at a quarter number 3. That car looks like it got a little bit loose on the back end, and it just went right around. You take a look at the GSRC replay, but hard contact with the inside.
Yeah, he was having trouble hanging onto it going through the turn. I saw that car move left and right just a couple of times, and I don't know if he'd maybe clipped the wall earlier or something, but something didn't look right with that car. He was having trouble keeping it stable through the turn there, Evan, and I mean, not a bad spot to wreck out right there in front of the pit lane, but still, that's really gonna cut him out of the lead lap and put him way down the field.
And you're taking a look at Team Nailed It's Michael Gray. You saw in the first shot of that instance with Jason Robarge, the 888 machine got turned around. He went to the inside of the racetrack on Ryan Lowe. You'll see the replay now as they exit the tunnel turn. Ryan Lowe goes low to block and just dumps him and sends the 888 car into the inside wall. That was heavy right side damage for Michael Gray. Essentially, that car done for the night. He takes the virtual tow, and then it was just moments after that that Jason Robarge had his issue. The 79 car ending up on the racing surface did trigger a yellow flag. So that's 2 drivers from the top 12 out in about a span of 5 seconds.
Yeah, and it makes the race for the top 10 even more interesting now. So, listen, we got a lot of guys up here that haven't had the best luck in the first 4 or 5 races of the season. De Jong is certainly one of them. Showen hasn't had a whole lot of luck. Pierre Didal hasn't had a whole lot of luck. Joe Branch, we talked about him a few times this evening. So, really good opportunity for some guys here to come away with a good result and in the early stages of this season, get their way up that championship ladder and make a run at this thing. Again, early days in this season, so getting a good points night here in a Triple Crown event with double points, that's the way to go. That's how you make up ground in this league.
And pit stops may be the deciding factor in this. Race leader Jake Wright comes down pit road. See, Jonathan Goke pitted on the last cycle of pit stop, Sean, and now he has to come down with everybody else, so in his strategy call really ends up -5.
Yeah, it really kind of does. Seems like if he'd had a few more green flag laps there, it might have been a little bit better than that, but yeah, everybody really needs to bring it down right here. I guess really that yellow doesn't come out at a bad time. You'll be able to make it on what you've got left here at this point. We're going to restart this race with about 15 laps to go. And then we're looking at a victory lane celebration. Who's it going to be tonight? We're about to find out.
And do we get a first-time winner through 5 races? We have had 3 different drivers take a trip to the virtual Gatorade victory lane. Daniel Roper 3 times at Milwaukee, Sonoma, and just 1 week ago at Richmond. Rick Music and George Ansaldo 1 apiece in both Homestead, Miami, and at Iowa Speedway. So Jake Wright going to be the first car off of the pit lane, and he's not going to be the race leader, though. How about Robert Bluen, the 48 car in the lead of this race right now? May very well just be staying out to snag a bonus point. He is really killing Jesse Fowler's vibe shot, because if the car's not up there in front of the 89, Jesse Fowler gets back to the lead lap, so he's hoping the 48 comes down.
Well, I'm sure he is, yeah, but, even the bonus points are worth double, so it doesn't really hurt Bluen to stay out and then maybe bring it in late, but, that's a little bit of trouble there.
And we'll keep an eye on what happens there up in the front of the field as these guys cycle through quarter number 3, though. Jake Wright in front of Joe Hassert will get the live standings, then they come by the next time by. But it looks like Joe Branch, Pierre Daigle, Mikael de Jong, Tony Show, and Chris Lanini, Ryan Lowe, and Vincent Blumenthal right now inside of the top 10 in this race. And assuming Bluen falls to the pit lane, which he does, and as well Jesse Fowler picking up on that, he'll jump back out, and he'll go from the lap down position to the first car, or rather the last car on the lead lap, Sean. So he'll get away by as the lights go off. Good news, the 89 right back in this race now as he cycles back around. Jonathan Goke, though, was going to say that this could be huge for him because he had pitted earlier in this race, made it up front, but he needed a caution to get with everybody else, Sean. This time, he gets the caution. However, he had a long stay on pit road, and he'll be in 16th position. Looks like he'll bump up to 15th with the live standings. You take a look at the U.S. Air Force Chevrolet. I think maybe if he was 5th and he got his caution, okay, but 16th, that's further back than where he was the last time he had to get through the field.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it. Got to see what Staff Sergeant Goke has got for us tonight. I'm sure it's plenty. I know a top 5 or even a podium finish would still be a great night for him, but yeah, he's got a lot of traffic to get through and some really fast racers up there. You know they're all going to be really digging here in this last segment of the race, Evan. It's going to be a really tough road to travel there for Jonathan.
It was Trevor Malone 1 season ago who won the DirtyBlinds.com 300, so not going to be a repeat winner here tonight, as not in this competition at the moment. Do want to again thank Pete Edwins and DirtyBlinds.com for coming on board and sponsoring tonight's DirtyBlinds.com 300. DirtyBlinds.com, obviously tonight's title sponsor, your one-stop shop for blind cleaning, repairs, and sales of blinds. We are a mobile blind cleaning business that goes to the customer's home or business and removes the blinds and cleans or repairs them on site. If your blinds aren't becoming to you, they'll be coming to them. Go to DirtyBlinds.com for more information on a variety of services. Title sponsor of tonight's DirtyBlinds.com 300. Could it be for the final time? Pace car wants to get out of the way. Green flag flies. We go back underway. 16 laps to go at Pocono for Jake Wright.
Can Jake pull this off? Watching Goke right now, he already making a charge. Right now, he is moving, man. He's got the Alfred Shepard machine, the little alligator. He's working right on past him. Goke on the charge early.
Goke trying to get the job done, and he has a long road to hoe if he wants to get there. The battle for second on. Joe Hassert has it. Small challenge from Joe Branch to the outside. Nothing there for the race lead. To the inside of the racetrack. Outside may be the place to be. Let's see how this one shakes out. Hassert down to 3, and he'll get the job done. Big Joe Hassert to the race lead.
Ricky Harden making a move back here, trying to get in the top 10. He's having to work with Peter Edwins and Tommy Ryan right there. Jason Galvin also in that mix, but Harden right now on the outside trying to make it work. Galvin on the inside.
Battle for the race lead back on. Jake Wright going to take it back over, down through 1, and the crossover yet again. Joe Hassert to the inside, down the long pond back straightaway. They head off to the tunnel turn. The number 11 car going to get clear yet again. This time he's got company with him. Joe Branch going to come up the inside, about side by side for second on track. Jake Wright the outside lane going to be able to get him that spot back. It does. He'll be able to retain second. Joe Branch has to settle for third at the moment. Jonathan Goke only up 3 spots to 14th right now. Now again for the race lead to the inside as they wreck behind them. Not enough as Jake Wright went side by side with Joe Hassert. Couldn't squeak that one out before the yellow flag. Caution flag flies. And trouble for Tommy Ryan, the number 66 machine, slow and onto the pit lane. I'll take a look at the GSRC replay right now at that contact. Trouble at a turn number 4, and wasn't contact between him and another driver, just the outside of retaining wall. Got very close with the DirtyBlinds.com machine of Peter Edwins in 12th position. Not guaranteed that they did not hit each other. It looks like they may have made the slightest of contact, or Tommy Ryan maybe gave the wheel a little bit of a tug to the right, Sean, to get clear. He met the wall very quickly at a turn 3, and the inside wall, direct hit to the right side of that race car. His car destroyed, his night done. After 105 laps, will come home 15 laps short of the scheduled distance, and it looks like that would drop him to 19th.
Man, that is a tough way to end it. And with the checkered flag in sight, to lose it there right at the end, yeah, tough break. Hey, I want to bring a little light and happiness to the room here real quick, though.
Okay.
I've let this go for a bit. I forgot to mention Ricky Harden and his lovely wife. Her name is Gail. They just had a baby a few days ago, and Ricky's out on track. Beautiful, beautiful little girl they had, and he is here racing with us tonight. So, yeah, good stuff. And you know what? I'm sorry. I said little girl. But they had a boy. My bad.
Well, hopefully we're not facilitating him getting in any sort of trouble, but he is out on track tonight. And on a random note, I guess, John, in comparison to that, I guess the baby boom in racing is going from the real world to sim racing as well, because there's been a lot of NASCAR drivers having kids the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's all around us, man. My kids are done and out of the way. My kid racing days are over, but I gotta admit, yeah, it's been quite a baby boom here lately.
Joe Hassert trying to take home the win tonight and maybe call the prizes that he gets at the end of the night, including the plaque and as well the hardcover book, the set of trading cards, the custom paint stickers, and embroidered patches as well. He can call those his baby if he wins it tonight as well. Trying to get the job done. He wouldn't mind a couple of more caution flags to just kind of coast through the end of this one. But this has happened many a time tonight, Sean. You go side by side for the race lead. One time, Jake Wright just in front of Jonathan Goke scored the race leader. This time, side by side, didn't get the benefit of the doubt. This race could very well come down to something that close.
You know, you talked about Big Joe and his chance to win this race. This season hasn't started off really well for Big Joe, so I'm sure he'd just be tickled with a win here tonight. And I know Joe likes free stuff, so a victory here tonight and all the tchotchkes that come along with it, $10 in iRacing credits, I'm sure that'll sit real well with Big Joe. But hey, we're going to have just under 10 laps to go. I don't want to jinx anything yet, but Jake Wright's not going to let him just get away.
And they're going to be for a restart, it looks like, as everybody's single-filed for a single-file restart. The light's still on top of the pace car. It is going to be less than 10 laps to go, if not at 10 laps to go, for this next restart. What that is going to mean is that a caution flag here, taking anywhere from 3 to 5 laps, depending on a cycle of cars off the lead lap, coming down pit road, getting service and such on. It's going to put us in an interesting scenario, because if we get a caution quickly, the opportunity's still well there to go back green, but I don't think you can get any more than one additional restart out of this race, excluding this one.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. Absolutely. This is where you want to make your charge. If you have one left in you, take it now, because it might be the only chance you get.
Lights expected to go off this time by Jesse Vincent, still hanging out with us in the GSRC broadcast booth. Jesse, in a scenario like this, you have Joe Hassert, Jake Wright, Joe Branch, Pierre Deigel, and Mikel de Jong through the top 5. The way some of these races have gone down at the end of them, you could say that all 16 drivers on the lead lap still have a shot at it, but realistically speaking, who do you think's still in this one?
Who do I think's still in this one? Man, Joe Branch is still in this one. Pierre Daigel's still in this one. I got to be honest with you. I'm not giving up on Tony Schowen either. Schowen's had a really nice run tonight. Started in 20th place, up to 6th. He could be a factor. See, it at times almost looks like he'd been saving the car, but I'll go back to Deigel, man. I talked about him earlier and the type of race he was running. This is right in his wheelhouse right now with this restart coming up. I kind of like the way that 14 machine's looking tonight.
There's only 2 drivers right now in a single-digit running position, being the top 9 that started there. Jake Wright in second, who started 6th, and a car in 5th that started in 2nd, Mikel de Jong. Everybody else has had quite the journey to get there. Joe Hassert up 11 spots to get to the race lead. Joe Branch up 10 spots to 3rd, 11-spot gain for Pierre Deigel in 4th. Tony Schowen, name you just mentioned, up 14 spots to 6th. Ryan Lowe is up 10 spots to 7th position. Vincent Blumenthal up 19 spots to 8th. Ricky Harden up just about 15, 16 spots to 9th, and then in 10th position, up 19, is Chris Lanini. A lot of big movers trying to not only take advantage of many of the big names who have had troubles here tonight, but I guess also exemplify that gain at this Triple Crown race being a double points event. Close it in on 2 hours since the drop of the green flag. Close it in on the end of this one, and actually the green flag going to be delayed. Everybody out of line back there. A couple of drivers trying to find out. Trouble now. We're wrecking under caution. Peter Edwins from 16th position is crashed down in turn number 3. The DirtyBlinds.com machine heavily damaged, and we'll take a look right there. You see contact, Sean. I have no idea what happened here. Pete Edwins closing in on the back of Jonathan Goke. A checkup and Not enough time for Robert Bluen to slow down. He gets wrecked out as well as Jesse Fowler. A 3-car wreck. Take out 3 of the lead lap cars out of the 16 we had.
Yeah, and I'm really not sure what happened there. I hear guys on the radio right now. I'm wondering if there was a connection problem. Somebody flashed. I'm hearing Bluen saying somebody flashed, and honestly, Evan, I just don't know.
And sometimes if there is a connection issue, we can see it. Sometimes we are not able to see it, and at least on my end of things, it looks like Robert Bluen goes to scrub his tires, and a very unfortunate timing. As soon as he goes to scrub the tires is when the checkup is, and he couldn't slow it down. But again, on his end of things, we have seen it many a time tonight. A car disappears. You have no idea he's there. Once that car shows back up, it is very easy to get back into him. If you remember, just past halfway in this DirtyBlinds.com 300, we did have connection issues that actually had to bring this race under a caution flag pace. And now even on my end of things, the sim having issues with the pace car also. So how about a crazy restart late in this one? And this takes 1 lap off of this 10 lap to go restart, which we would have seen. It'll be 9 to go this time by. 1 lap, that's 10% of what's left. That's a big hit for some of these guys who need to still get through for the field to try to get up front.
Yeah, real big hit right there. And that was again another weird thing that happened tonight again, and you know, these guys are going to have to deal with it. That extends the yellow. Going to have a little bit less time to get things done, especially for a guy like Gok. He had to check up too, and might have gotten a little bit of damage on the rear end. I don't see anything there, but hopefully everything's okay with that car. But yeah, that was almost real catastrophe there. Several cars are almost affected by that.
And we get it this time by. Green flag flies. Back and away we go. 22.5 miles to the checkered flag. It's 9 laps remaining in the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Joe Hassert, good restart for the race leader. Better restart, though, for Jake Wright. He's all over the gearbox out of 1.
And talk about all over the gearbox. Here comes Joe Branch. He's
3 wide for the race lead.
3 wide.
That's down the long pond back straightaway. The battle between Hassert and Wright here to spoil the party is Joe Branch. 3 wide for the race lead and clear down through the tunnel turn. New race leader to 3. Hassert looks low, not going to get it.
Nah, Hassert jerked it down there quick. Had nothing for him. Jake Wright on the outside getting by Hassert right now. Hassert trying to step in the line, get a little bit of draft. Daigle back there trying to make it work. Here comes Tony Showen on the inside.
Dallin trying to join the party. He wants 4th. To the inside on Pierre Daigle. 3 wide for 4th. To the outside goes Mikel de Jong. And somehow they all make it through. Big winner, the 101 car, going to take over 4th spot. Daigle looks like he'll try to hang on to 5th, and Showen going to have to settle for 6th in the tunnel turn. He will, and now he'll have to deal with Ryan Lowe down the short chute there into quarter 3. For the race lead again, side by side, Jake Wright to the inside of the racetrack. Joe Branch, though, preferred lane up top. He'll hold him off for now.
Yeah, and Lowe and Showen, they're almost making contact, able to avoid it. Here they are racing side by side again, going into 1, Evan.
That fight just inside the top 10 for 7th, and they get right on each other's doors. Not quite contact, but pretty close to it. Showing on the outside of the racetrack, going backwards. Ryan Lowe now going to challenge up on the bottom. This fight again for 7th on track. How about 3 wide behind him? Jonathan Gok to the inside. Does he stick the nose in? He does. 3 wide in the shortest corner on track. They make it work. Gok going to get the spots.
Oh, and Gok and Showen make contact.
Not done yet. Still through 3. Slow through quarter 3. Go! Contacted into the outside wall goes Tony Showen. Up and over. And huge contact at a quarter number 3. Caution flag will fly with 6 laps to go. Yellow flag is out, and Tony Showen ushered into the outside of retaining wall from Jonathan Gok. Gok immediately over the radio, Sean said, he didn't even think the 31 was there. That car on the inside, it's something Jesse said. You go to the inside, you lose your momentum off. That car might have gotten tight, and he had to check up, and it put Showen in the fence. Second time tonight, Gok has made contact with somebody in 3, this time at the expense of the 31 car.
Yeah, that's a real shame, man. I mean, it looked like Gok, like you said, he had to check up just a little bit, and when he did, it shot the rear end around just...
And we'll take a look on board with the U.S. Air Force onboard camera at Jonathan Gok. Shades of Joe Branch, 3 wide to the thinnest quarter on the racetrack. The tunnel turn made that work, and then he made contact with Tony Schoen going into the corner right there. They get into each other. Luckily, that wasn't a big wreck. And now that they were all offline, slides up the racetrack, gets checked up. Schoen gets into the back of him, and up and over goes the number 31 car. A big incident for Tony Schoen. Everybody dives low, dives high for the most part. I think they're all able to get around and out of the way. It'll cut the lead lap cars down from 16 to 15 as Schoen has to take the virtual tow back to the pit lane. And now Joe Branch awaits the pace car and now gathers up behind the pace car coming out of quarter to 3. That incident coming as we were approaching the start-finish line for 6 to go. This could very well line us up for a 2-lap shootout to the checker.
Boy, I hate that for Tony, man. He was, like I said, he was having a great run, and he's had some bad luck already this season. And darn it, if it didn't just bite him again. Tough break for him, but I got to tell you, Joe Branch, a factor right now. He, the restart here, I think we'll get one, Evan. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see here. I mean, it just ticked off 116, so it could. Maybe a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah, I predict this one will be 2 laps to go or so. And again, with the connection issues we have seen tonight, it would not be, out of the ordinary to see a delayed restart if we do have an issue. A delayed restart meant a lot on that last one because it'll make this restart what we expect to be a 2 to go at the start-finish line instead of it being a 3 to go if we went green and actually 10 laps to go. You get another one of those, not only could it take a lap off of very few that are left, but this race could also be ended if a connection issue so does cause a problem under the caution flag. Nonetheless, if we do get back to green flag racing in this race, caution flag would then again end it unless the white flag is in the air. As long as the leader crosses the start-finish line, Sean crosses over from lap 119 to 120. Doesn't matter how many cars don't make it back, it's first person to the checkered flag takes it all.
And who's it going to be? That's the big question. Does Joe Branch have enough to hold off Jake Wright? We're going to find out. Don't give up on Big Joe Hassert, man. I said it earlier, Big Joe knows how to win. So watch out. Pierre Deigel back there lurking. Jonathan Goke in the mix. So not a lot of time to get things done. But as we've seen, these guys are not afraid to run 3 and 4 wide heading through these straights into these turns. So this is going to be a great restart and a great finish. Unfortunately, Tony Schoen decided to call it a night. He has left the server, so tough night for Tony. He is gone.
The pace car lights will go off this time by, how about 3 laps to go? A little bit of bonus time in this race. It'll give us 7.5 miles to decide who wins the first Triple Crown race on a Season 3 championship with the LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics. Overdrive Graphics, by the way, the title sponsor and presenting sponsor for the LionHeart IndyCar Series, the premier American open wheel championship on iRacing, currently presented by Overdrive Graphics. Overdrive Graphics provides high-quality paint schemes, posters, t-shirt designs, hero cards for drivers on the sim, and more. Put your car into overdrive with Overdrive Graphics. Visit them online at overdrivegraphics.com and on social media. You can go to facebook.com/overdrivegraphics or on Twitter at OverdriveGRFX. And again, big thanks to tonight's title sponsor, DirtyBlinds.com, your one-stop shop for blind cleaning, repairs, and sales of blinds. We are a mobile blind cleaning business that goes onto the customer's homes or businesses, removes the blinds, and cleans or repairs them on site for you. If your blinds aren't coming to you, they should be coming to us. Go to DirtyBlinds.com for more information on their variety of services. Joe Branch, 3 wide for the race lead to the tunnel turn. Can he hang on for 3 more laps?
I don't know, man. We're about to find out. Jesse, you think your old rival there, Big Joe, got anything to win this?
Well, 3rd place definitely isn't a bad play. All it takes is Jake Wright getting underneath Joe Branch. Joe Branch pinching him just a little bit. Slightest bit of contact, even without any contact. Just a little bit of a wiggle, and Joe will have a run. Hell, he might even take it 3 wide himself.
Wouldn't be out of character. Evan, get the call here. That pace car is about to duck off.
Down to the safety of pit road. Final time tonight. Green flag flies back underway from Pocono. Joe Branch to quarter 1. He might be able to hang on, but he won't lead all 3 laps of it. To the inside goes Jake Wright, side by side for the race lead. A caution flag would end this race if it flies shy of the white. How about 3 wide for 8th spot in the middle of all of that? The 05 of Ricky Harden.
Yeah,
4 wide.
4 wide right now. That race, Galvin, Harden, you got Jonathan Goke right there in the mix. Ryan Lowe, man, those guys are battling hard right now. Almost making contact right there. Ryan Lowe stuck up on the outside, can't get around Goke at all. Man, what a race right there. Goke holding it on pretty good there. He's in 6th.
Joe Branch on the outside of the racetrack went there in the tunnel turn. It wasn't a move to make a pass, but in turn 3, gave him the preferred lane to the race lead at 2 to go. Jake Wright drops in line already with enough of a draft to jump out of line to the inside and side by side for the top spot. Joe Hassert watching all of this unfold, trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah, well, Jesse talked about that strategy there for Joe. It might work out for him here. He's caught the pack right here. What's Joe going to do? He's probably going to keep it up on a little bit higher side of the track right there and follow along. But not over for Joe Hassert yet.
Joe Branch led through 2. Now it's Jake Wright. Hassert to the inside in corner 3. Not going to be enough of a run. White flag flies this time. Do they make it there? Crossover to the inside, side by side. The white flag lap to Jake Wright. And 2.5 miles to go. Branch on the inside, Wright on the outside. The top 3 single file for a brief moment.
And Big Joe Hassert sitting right there, man. What's he going to do? Oh, there goes Jake Wright to the inside
And
there.
Jake's got the preferred line for this.
He's in the inside in turn 2. The outside may be the place to be in the final corner. Wright trying to get the race lead. He'll do it. Just half a lap to go. What does Joe Branch have for him? It'll have to be a move out of the final corner. One last time to the outside. Peaks the 28. Does he get enough of a run? He'll fall short. Corner number 3 to the checkered flag. Jake Wright wins the DirtyBlinds.com 300. Joe Branch comes home 2nd. Joe Hassert in 3rd. Mikel DeYoung side by side and gets 4th over top of Pierre Daigo, who gets 5th. Jonathan Goke has to settle for 6th position as they went 3 wide for 4th at the start-finish line. DeYoung, Daigle, and Goke, the order that those 3 cars come home in order for. But John, Jake Wright gets the job done. Joe Branch had made passes in 3, and he just wasn't able to do it that one final time. Great setup for the 27 to make the move. Great positioning.
Jake Wright, I'll tell you what, man. Heck of a driver, heck of a young talent here in the iRacing service. He threw that Toyota power down tonight, made it almost look easy there at the end. But you could bet he was working hard, man. A great run for Jake. So happy to see him get his first win of the season. Really, really good guy, and again, one of the really good racers here on the service. Always clean and patient and always fast, to be quite frank. And he's sitting out there cutting some donuts right now and enjoying this victory. He's going to be the proud recipient of a nice plaque at the end of the season. He's going to get $10 in iRacing credits. He's going to get some new patches for the jacket or for the shirt, and he's going to get a couple of stickers. Great night for Jake. Very happy for him.
We'll go from 15 on the lead lap, but a final restart to 14. You saw the replay. Ryan Lowe, hard contact in turn 3. He does not make it to the start-finish line, so he comes home in 15th. First car, 1 lap to the negative. Jake Wright, though, he's burned it down. He's bringing a cone with him, the virtual Gatorade victory lane, and as the celebration prepares to get going underway for Team No Name Racing, we'll step away for just one final moment on the Global Sim Racing channel, and we'll come back with the post-race show from the Poconos. The DirtyBlinds.com 300 to Jake Wright. Reactions coming up in just a moment. Back live at the virtual Pocono Raceway after the dust settles, or in this case, the smoke settles. Jake Wright burning it down on the front straightaway. He wins round number 6 in the championship, takes home the checker in the first Triple Crown race on Season 3. Winner in tonight's DirtyBlinds.com 300. Take a look at the GSRC full race standings after this one. Take a look at where everybody stacked up at the end of it all. No Name Racing taking 3 of the spots inside the top 5, with Jake Wright in first, Joe Hassard in third, and Pierre Deigel in fifth. The second goes to Joe Branch, and Mikael DeYoung comes home in fourth position. A 6th place result for Jonathan Goat. Can't quite get back to the top spot after being one of the fastest cars all night long. A 7th spot for Ricky Harden. Jason Galvin up from 22nd to 8th. Up to 9th goes Chris Lanini. In 10th position, rather, Vincent Blumenthal, your 9th place finisher.
Yeah, and you talked about Lanini there in 10th. Alfred Shepard brings it home in 11th. The number 13 in 12th. Jesse Fowler in the number 89. Peter Edwins, Dirty Blinds sponsor for this evening. He finishes 13th. Not a bad run for Pete. He's going to like those points tonight. Robert Bluen brings it home in 14th. Ryan Lowe, tough break for him after kind of running up with the leaders there for quite a while. He'll finish 15th tonight. George Anzaldo, trouble early, but he still manages to finish just 1 lap down. He's in 16th place. Not going to mind that finish. Not going to hurt him too bad. Tony Showen, he's going to come home 17th. Tough break for him there at the end. Tommy Ryan in 18th tonight. Jason Robarge in 19th. And in 20th, 20 laps down, Michael Gray.
And everybody from here on out of this race after a premature end to their Triple Crown forte tonight. 21st position to Justin Laxton, Terry Mathinson in 22nd, a 23rd for Mark Goodwin. Jesse Vincent been hanging up with us for the second half of this one with a 24th place result tonight. 25th for Ian Adams. James Grahula ends up wrecked out in 26th, a 27th for Dan Guerin. Austin Espety, 28th, 29th to Corey Connor, and Alan Bose through the top 30.
And let's see, that would be Mark Norbert in 31st, Daniel Roper in 32nd, and Tony Lurcock. He is the last guy tonight, 33rd. Tough night for Tony. Really had high hopes tonight, and they were dashed early, Evan.
Well, Jesse, it wasn't quite the view that you've had of the finish of this Pocono Raceway event for the first 2 seasons with the LionHeart IndyCar Series. Up here in the booth for the end of this one, had those back issues, didn't allow you, rather, to finish this race. What did you think of that final 3-lap shootout to the checker?
It was definitely interesting. I was kind of afraid Joe was going to spoil the fun for Joe Hassett was going to spoil the fun for Joe Branch and Jake Wright because they were having their own little duel. I was kind of thinking that Joe's best shot to not spoil his teammates' run was just kind of sit back and either let Jake do his thing or maybe wait until they have their own little squabble that goes wrong and then Hassett take advantage of it.
Well, Jake Wright ends up atop the podium tonight, and to get the post-race show kicked off here on the Global Sim Racing channel, going to pass things over. Sean Ambrose, you've caught up in pit stall number 12 of the driver that comes home on the 3rd step of the podium here tonight. You've caught up with Joe Hassard.
I have caught up with Big Joe Hassard, driver of the No Name Racing Toyota number 11 there. Big Joe, not a bad night for you, sir. Way to come back here.
Yeah, man, I was hoping to get the win. I had marked this as one of my tracks that I was going to call for a win, and I didn't come through, but I was close. But it was nice to get a podium, nice to see my teammate get the win there. So it was a good run overall.
Well, I mean, did your teammate come into mind there in the last couple laps? I mean, honestly, did you think, well, you know, it'd be really nice for us to both finish on the podium. Maybe I don't want to mess this up, or did they just really get away from you there?
I did hang back a little, but then, of course, the push was real. So going in the corners, it really put me at a disadvantage. But when your teammates, you know, side by side with a guy, you're not going to put them 3 wide. So, you know, I'll just take the points, take the podium, move on to the next race. I'll get a win somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe at Barber in a couple weeks, man. We head on down to Alabama. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's a good joke.
Well, we'll make our inaugural race there in 2 weeks. Joe, great run tonight. Really happy to see you up on the podium. Going You'll go home with a few prizes in your pocket there, and you'll take home those double points for third place. Congratulations, my friend. Travel safe. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
You're welcome. If you guys want to check the standings, they're updated already, so there's some shake-up going on.
Yes, sir. I'm sure there is. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Thanks, Joe. And Evan, I believe you have caught up with our race winner, Jake Wright. What a run for him tonight. Tell us all about it.
Well, the story into tonight's race was not necessarily about the driver of the 27. The hype has been Daniel Roper. 3 wins to put him to the top of the power rankings. But the guy that's been up at the top all season long, for the most part, has been the driver of the 27 machine. And he's showing the guys that made those power rankings that it was a bad idea to drop him down to 4th, start 6th, and takes home the win with a last lap pass here at the virtual Pocono Raceway. Your winner in tonight's DirtyBlinds.com 300 is Jake Wright, and we've caught up with him down in the virtual Gatorade Victory Lane. Jake, first off, a big congratulations to you. What a race, though. This one, about an hour of additional racing than what you guys are used to. A long race, a hard-fought race, and it came down to not only that final 3-lap restart, but the move you made for the race lead in turn 2 to get the win. Walk us through all of that.
Well, coming to 3 to go, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but I think I just got a pretty good run coming to 2, and I was able to hold it. So it was very intense, and I'm still shaking.
Well, this win, which is the first on this 2015 to Season 3 championship for you within the LionHeart IndyCar Series presented by Overdrive Graphics. Not only the first win, but as well in race number 6, you pick up your 2nd top 5, your 5th top 10. So you guys have been very consistent so far this year. It's also going to put you back to the top of the championship standings exiting tonight's race. So you lead them all tonight, and you lead them all outside of tonight. Got a pretty good feeling, I would imagine, going now through 6 races. A lot of the time, getting that first win is extremely difficult for some guys to get. They'll get a lot of seconds and thirds. And for you, again, 5 top 10s already. And now your 2nd top 5 here tonight ends up with your first trip to victory lane on the year. You got that win. You now know you can do it. Does this give you guys any sort of extra confidence out of tonight's race? Or you have to approach these next 12 races like you did tonight, and that knowing that nothing is guaranteed?
I think it'll give us some confidence for sure, but coming into next week, it's a road course, so it's going to be different for sure. But yeah, I think it gives us some confidence, and I hope we can keep this up for the rest of the season.
You speak of that, you guys, you earned your off week, I'll say, tonight with this enduring race, the first Triple Crown race on the year. You guys get an off week. 2 Wednesdays from now, you do go to the road course for round 7 in the championship, as you alluded to. It's going to be Barber Motorsports Park. Have you tested there at all? And if so, and even if not, what are you going to go into that race looking for?
Going into that race, I'm just going to work on sheer speed. I have tested a little bit there, and I know I can get some pretty good laps in, but I think it's going to be tough going up against guys like Roper and Alan Bowes and Austin. It'll be a lot of fun, I think.
Well, it's a fan favorite, which means it'll be fun for you guys, and it may be a little bit more fun for us to watch, Jake. Big win here tonight. Do want to give you an opportunity before we step away very quickly. Sponsors or shout-outs, who do you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to go ahead and thank my teammates on No Name Racing, as well as Overdrive Graphics and SurveySystems.com. And I want to go ahead and thank the league for hosting these very, very fun races.
Well, Jake, I want to thank you for sticking around, talking with us here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Again, a huge congratulations to you. Enjoy your off week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time where you try to go for race win number 2. We'll see you at Barber.
Can't wait to see you there, too.
So that is your race winner this evening, Sean Ambrose. Jake Wright takes home the DirtyBlinds.com 300. We're now 6 races in, and that's a third of the way through the season.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? 2/3 of the season to go. There's still a lot of racing left to be done. But as Joe had mentioned there, the standings are up, and Jake moves to the top of those standings with this win tonight. Being a double points night, it puts him 67 points ahead of Daniel Roper and Big Joe Hassert, who moved up 10 places to get up to 3rd in the championship points. The real big mover, though, with that great run he had tonight, Joe Branch up 14 places up to 7th in the championship points. Lots of moving and shaking going on within that top 10, even the top 20 for that matter. That was a big night. Jonathan Goke up 11 spots. Michael DeJean up 13 spots. So lots of movement going on there. It was a great race tonight. Yeah, we probably saw that yellow flag a couple more times than we wanted to, but again, it's all about the racing. And when they were racing, it was fast, it was furious, and man, it was hot out there tonight.
I'll turn now to Jesse Vincent. Jesse, you take a look at this race as a whole. I know that you would have liked to be up there battling for the race win in this one. Again, couldn't make it to the end. And a 24th place result, it's going to be something that you guys continue to work through and try to get back and, compete at Barber as you talked about. Pocono was an exciting race. What's your final thoughts on this one?
Well, that's a race that could have gone better, but it's also a race that could have gone much worse. It could have been the Season 1 race, but Pocono is a very difficult track. I kind of went the way I expected. There was going to be a little bit of attrition, but it wasn't going to be, the crapshoot that Iowa turned out to be. Jake, I'm actually glad to see Jake win. He came in to this series late last year, has been up front. I think he's led laps in like every single race since he's joined this league. It's nice to see him finally get a win. It's nice to see him leading the points, and he's also the only driver to get 5 top 10s this season, I've noticed.
I did want to point out to you, Jesse, we were talking about fuel, and your fuel numbers ended up being accurate. Me telling Sean that 6 races is 1/3 of the way through 18. That's the extent of my math, just for comparison. Thanks for sticking around and talking with us, though. Hopefully for you, it goes better at Barber. But thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep, glad to be here. It was fun.
And that wraps things up here from the Pocono Raceway. A long one. That's what you get out of these Triple Crowns. Long race, big reward, though. Double points launches Jake right to the top of the championship standings. And as we bring things to a close tonight for round 6 in the title fight, do need to thank all the people that help us on our end of things here at the Global Sim Racing channel, those involved in the streaming equipment and such. Not only do I want to thank a huge thank you to iRacing.com, Motorsport Simulations LLC, as well. Do want to thank XSplit, free and easy streaming and recording software, as well, the Audio Technica Corporation, and a big shout out to AverMedia USA. Do want to thank the LionHeart administration team, George Anzaldo, Justin Laxton, Tony Lurcock, everybody else behind the scenes who do what they do for this series and allow it to run with such big competitive fields and allow us to be a part of it on a week in and week out basis. Additional thanks go to Dougie Beard, as always, for providing us with our camera sets, and to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde for providing us with the music you hear on the broadcast. Their information is up on the screen right now. You can stay up to date with everything GSRC on our website at globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, and Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. Upcoming races, and you took a look at them under the caution flag earlier tonight. You'll take a look now. A lot to come in the coming weeks here on GSRC. Taking a look at some of the exciting events we have coming up, but no week, racing coming up on September the 9th, Sean Ambrose. Next time we are in action is going to be Wednesday, September the 16th at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time for the LionHeart IndyCar Series, presented by Overdrive Graphics. Round 7 from Barber Motorsports Park. That's going to be the team nailed at 90.
It is going to be the team nailed at 90, and I got to tell you, I'm not afraid to say it. That's 2 days before my birthday. That's going to be a great race. They've never been to Barber Motorsports Park before. It'll be the inaugural event. Great track, great circuit, man. Lots of fun, lots of turns, lots of high-speed opportunities. It's in Jesse Vincent's backyard. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do there. I just hope he can get healthy before then, and would really like to see Jesse put on a good show there. But yeah, it's going to be a great race. Looking forward to getting over there into Birmingham, Alabama, and enjoy that race there at Barber Motorsports Park. But we get a week off. Hopefully these drivers will take a little time to get some practice in and maybe start to mend some of those bridges that started to burn a little bit tonight there, Evan.
Yeah, I told you some guys got into some incidents earlier, and maybe the 80 laps or so in between that and the end of the race would settle things down. Well, it didn't. A lot of guys fumed after this one. That's what happens when a lot is online. However, that puts a bow on this one, and this one goes into the history books as we get set to make history in 2 weeks' time with our first trip down to Barber. But on behalf of the Global Sim Racing Channel broadcast team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and Amjed Ahmed, thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Jake Wright, your winner tonight at Pocono. Everybody enjoy your Labor Day weekend and your off week. We'll see you in 2 Wednesdays' time from Barber Motorsports Park. Good night.